What if you suddenly lost everything and had no one by your side? That question haunted Dr. Emily Carter as she stared out over the vast, windswept plain of the McDermitt Caldera, where the earth had begun to shift in strange, inexplicable ways. The dusty horizon shimmered under the Nevada sun, heat waves dancing like ghosts over ancient volcanic soil. She was alone in her makeshift observation station, a former shipping container turned mobile lab, surrounded by blinking monitors and humming seismic sensors. Emily had been called back from a rare vacation after a junior geologist picked up tremors, minor, irregular, but persistent, in the area. At first, no one thought much of it. This land, after all, had long been dormant, just another fossil in the geological record. But something was off. The sensors told a story she couldn't ignore. She zoomed in on the latest readings, the lines jagged and erratic like a lie detector reacting to a guilty conscience. Could it be a dormant fault line coming back to life? A microquake swarm? Or something entirely new? That's when she got the call. "Emily, it's Martin. Are you seeing this?" Her colleague from Caltech didn't waste time with pleasantries. "They're picking up the same pattern at the satellite station. It's not just tremors. There's lateral displacement. The ground's actually moving. Slowly, but surely." Her mind raced. Lateral movement over time in a caldera this size could mean tectonic stress, magma chamber inflation, or even liquefaction events. She pressed her hand to her forehead and took a long breath, steadying herself. If the caldera was reawakening, the implications were massive. The McDermitt Caldera, formed by a supereruption 16.4 million years ago, was part of the Yellowstone hotspot track, a sleeping giant. Most of the world had forgotten about it. Until now. And as fate would have it, the world was watching, not because of the tremors, but because of what lay beneath them. Lithium. Rich deposits of it. Enough, some had claimed, to fuel America's clean energy revolution. Her thoughts shifted to the media storm swirling around the caldera in recent months. The discovery of one of the largest lithium reserves on the planet had triggered a gold rush, except this time it wasn't gold, but the silvery white metal at the heart of batteries, cell phones, and electric vehicles. That was what had brought her here in the first place, part of a federal initiative to assess the safety and sustainability of proposed mining operations in the region. She'd spent weeks mapping fault lines, taking core samples, and installing equipment, all while dodging reporters, corporate reps, and even protesters. Everyone wanted a piece of the pie. But now, the land itself was responding. As if it had something to say. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? The line echoed in her mind, not from the news, but from the vlog she'd started to document her journey, a way to reach people outside of the sterile world of academia. She'd meant it to be educational, even hopeful. Now, it felt like foreshadowing. She checked her watch. In 45 minutes, she was due on a video call with stakeholders from the Department of Energy, Tesla, and Lithium Americas, the company already breaking ground on what was being called the Thacker Pass mine, located at the southern edge of the caldera. That meant walking a tightrope between science and politics, truth and economic ambition. She pulled her long brown hair into a bun and rolled her shoulders, straightening her spine. She had no time to doubt herself. As she prepped her report, she couldn't stop thinking about Elon Musk's latest tweet. Domestic lithium is the future. We can't build the next era of transportation relying on imports. Time to scale. It had gone viral in minutes. Tesla had already secured lithium refining deals in Texas, but it wasn't enough. The McDermitt site could shift the balance. Or destroy it. Her computer pinged, another notification. This one from the field team. A new crack had appeared along the northern ridge, nearly 3 feet wide and extending for several meters. The aerial drone footage made her breath catch. She zoomed in. The edges weren't weathered, this wasn't erosion. This was fresh, active movement. "Get me full thermal imaging," she typed back, fingers flying over the keyboard. She needed to rule out magma intrusion, even if the odds were slim. She already knew she wouldn't sleep tonight. Not with the data streaming in. Not with her gut screaming that they were on the edge of something bigger than lithium. Bigger than commerce. This wasn't just a geological event. It was a warning. She thought about her mother, who used to say that the earth speaks in whispers before it screams. She hadn't believed it as a child, brushing off her mother's intuition as poetic nonsense. Now, as a grown woman and scientist, she wasn't so sure. She copied the latest seismic logs into a file and added annotations, drawing arrows and timelines, sketching a pattern that, if proven, could change everything. The tectonic plate beneath the area was supposed to be stable. But nothing about this was stable. And if the movement continued, if the slippage rate accelerated, it could trigger a cascade event. Landslides. Ground collapse. Even hydrothermal eruptions if water was trapped underground. Her phone buzzed. It was an encrypted message. She clicked it open. It was from an unknown number. Just 2 words, "Stop digging." Her blood went cold. Was it a prank? A threat? A warning? She scanned the header, but the sender was masked. She took a screenshot and saved it to her secure folder, noting the time and origin data. She wouldn't let fear get in the way. But something told her this wasn't just a coincidence. Not with what she'd just uncovered. The call started precisely on time. Faces flickered across the screen, federal agents, company executives, and a senior liaison from Tesla. Emily's heart pounded as she began her presentation. "We've identified anomalous seismic activity within the caldera," she said calmly, showing the data overlays. "Preliminary analysis suggests shallow tectonic shifts, possibly induced by long-term hydrothermal weakening. If operations continue without additional study, we risk a destabilization event." There was silence on the line. Then a voice, smooth, assertive, cut through. "Are you saying we should halt development? This site is projected to provide nearly 30% of our domestic lithium needs by 2030. She recognized the speaker. A Tesla Energy executive. She'd expected resistance, but the tone made her spine stiffen. "I'm saying we need time. 6 weeks. To assess the risk." Murmurs. Questions. Pushback. The federal rep asked for a classified report. The mining CEO requested a private follow-up. The Tesla rep wanted daily updates. It was a circus. But as the meeting ended, one person remained. A window popped back open. A direct feed. Elon Musk himself. "Dr. Carter," he said, his voice calm but intense. "I watched your vlog. You believe the Earth is warning us?" She hesitated. Then nodded. "I think we should listen before we dig." He stared for a moment, then smiled faintly. "Let's make sure we're not about to build the future on top of a ticking time bomb." The screen went dark. She exhaled. Her hands trembled. Outside, the wind howled, carrying with it the ancient breath of the caldera. This wasn't over. It was only the beginning. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Emily Carter didn't sleep that night. She stayed at her terminal, combing through petabytes of data streaming in from satellite thermal imaging, seismographs, and drone reconnaissance over the McDermitt Caldera. The movements had intensified slightly, still subtle enough not to panic the general public, but too unusual to ignore. She sipped cold coffee and stared at the frequency graphs. They pulsed like heartbeats, not random noise, but patterned, rhythmic. Something beneath the surface was stirring, and it wasn't just geological. Her inbox kept pinging, requests from agencies, follow-ups from Tesla, environmental reports flagged for discrepancies. Yet, the one thing she couldn't shake was that text message. Stop digging. It wasn't just a warning. It was timed perfectly, too perfectly, arriving right as she uncovered that lateral displacement zone. She tried not to let paranoia creep in, but there was a feeling crawling up the back of her neck, like someone was watching her every move. The next morning, she jumped into her rented Jeep and drove northeast along an old maintenance road that traced the caldera's edge. The landscape was harsh and desolate, layers of volcanic rock, ash, and clay creating a surreal tableau of pale grays and rusted reds. She was headed to Ridge Site 4, where one of her graduate students, Miguel Alvarez, had been monitoring ground temperature anomalies. When she arrived, she found him crouched beside a freshly dug pit, his face tight with concern. "You need to see this," he said without looking up. Emily knelt beside him and peered into the soil layers. The clay had begun to oxidize in strange patterns, and a faint shimmer of steam escaped the cracks, rising like smoke. Miguel pointed to his infrared tablet. "Look at the gradient. It's shallow. This isn't geothermal from deep vents. Something closer to the surface is heating the substrate." She reached into the pit and touched the clay. It was warm. Not hot, not boiling, but unnatural. "Any smell?" she asked. Miguel nodded. "Sulfur. Barely detectable, but it's there." She stood, heart pounding. Sulfur dioxide could indicate hydrothermal activity, and if water was being superheated in new fissures, it could mean rising magma or depressurization. She pulled out her radio. "Station Alpha, this is Carter. I need drone footage of Ridge Site 4, 50-foot radius, thermal overlay. Full mapping. Static, then confirmation." As they waited, she asked Miguel if he'd told anyone else. "Just you," he said. "Why?" She debated telling him about the text message but held back. "Just making sure the right people hear it first." When the drone arrived, the footage confirmed what they feared. The surface temperature in a large, elliptical patch near Ridge Site 4 had increased by nearly 6 degrees Celsius in 48 hours. Not catastrophic, but not normal either. It formed a pattern, one that traced a line through multiple test sites. "It's not isolated," she muttered. "It's tracking east, right under the proposed mining zone." Miguel stepped back, his face pale. "Are they still planning to blast next week?" "As far as I know," she said. "Unless I can stop it." Back at base camp, Emily compiled her findings and wrote a risk bulletin. She sent it to all key stakeholders with the subject line, "Urgent Safety Recommendation, Pause Operations." She laid out the evidence, the patterns, the thermal shifts. She included drone imagery, spectral analysis, and predictive modeling. Then she sat back and waited. An hour passed. Then another. No response. By late afternoon, she received a single reply, from a DOE official. It was terse, concerns noted. "The operation remains a top strategic priority. We'll review further next week." Next week might be too late. Frustrated, she decided to call someone who might actually listen. Her younger sister, Rachel Carter, worked in media relations for a climate advocacy group in Washington. They hadn't spoken in months, not since the anniversary of their mother's death, which had ended in a shouting match over politics and life choices. But this wasn't about their past. This was bigger. When Rachel picked up, there was a pause before she said, "Emily. Wow. Didn't think I'd hear from you." Emily got straight to the point. "I need a favor. I need visibility. The kind only your group can provide." Rachel's tone sharpened. "Is this about McDermitt? We've been tracking the lithium debate. There's a ton of pushback on the mining." "It's not about the politics," Emily said. "It's about the science. There's geological instability. Real risk. If they proceed with blasting or heavy equipment, we could trigger an environmental disaster. Rachel paused. You're sure? Dead sure. Another pause. Then Rachel exhaled. Okay. Send me your data. I'll see what I can do. But you know how this works. If I go public with this, it's a war. Emily's voice was steady. Then it's time we start fighting. That night, a storm rolled in. Lightning lit up the caldera's edge like flashbulbs, and thunder rolled across the Badlands in waves. Emily stood outside the lab, letting the wind whip through her coat. She thought of her mother again, of the last camping trip they took before the cancer came. They'd sat by a campfire in Utah, staring up at the stars. Her mother had said, "The earth remembers everything, Emily. Even what we try to forget." She wished she could talk to her now. Ask her what to do. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. It was Rachel. Your footage went viral, she said, her voice tight. I leaked it to a couple journalists I trust. It's already trending. #LithiumQuake. Emily's stomach twisted. Is it bad? It's loud, Rachel said. Loud is good. People are listening. DOE's already getting calls. Emily thanked her and hung up. Inside the lab, alerts were already popping up, news outlets requesting interviews, academic peers sharing their support, even a few anonymous threats. But the biggest shock came just before midnight. A notification from an encrypted line. Elon Musk wanted to speak. Not a rep, not an assistant. Musk himself. She accepted the call. His face filled the screen, weary but alert, the background of his home office dimly lit. You made some waves, he said. Your footage, it's everywhere. Emily didn't waste time. The caldera's unstable. We need a full pause on site activity. This isn't just about risk management. It's about preventing a geological chain reaction. Musk leaned in. Can you prove causality? That the mining's affecting the seismic pattern? Emily hesitated. Not yet. But the correlation is strong, and the risk window is closing. He nodded slowly. You're putting me in a tough position. If I push for a freeze, stock prices dip, confidence tanks. But if you're right, she saw it then, the wheels turning in his mind, weighing innovation against integrity, profits against planetary warnings. Then he surprised her. I'll order an immediate review. Independent audit. No further expansion until we know more. Relief flooded her. Thank you. He added, this might not make me popular with the board. But sometimes being first means being first to do the right thing. The call ended. Emily sat in the silence, heart still racing. She looked at the caldera map on the wall, its jagged contours now etched into her soul. They weren't in the clear. Not yet. But they'd bought time. And sometimes, time is everything. Emily awoke before sunrise, her mind already racing with possibilities and threats. The decision to freeze operations at McDermitt hadn't gone public yet, but she knew it was only a matter of time before someone within the chain of communication leaked it. She opened her laptop to dozens of new emails, some from geologists around the world offering support or requesting access to her data, others from unknown sources filled with veiled threats or questions meant to unsettle her. She skimmed through them until one message caught her eye, flagged red. It was from a secure government account, a formal notice from the Department of Energy requesting an immediate in-person briefing in Washington, D.C. The meeting was scheduled in 2 days. They were flying her out that evening. She barely had time to process the information before Miguel knocked on her lab door, holding a printout. We've got a new signal, he said, voice low. She followed him back to the field tent where the subsurface scanners were housed. On the screen was a new set of readings. Low-frequency harmonic tremors. They pulsed steadily, too deep to be surface noise, too constant to be dismissed. That's magma movement, she said without hesitation. Miguel nodded. If it is, it's slow, but it's there. The depth is holding at 10 kilometers. But this is new. These weren't here 3 days ago. Emily leaned in. Map the vector spread. I want to know if it's directional. As Miguel worked, she felt the sinking weight of her hypothesis coalescing into something tangible. The movements weren't random. They were migrating. The caldera wasn't just restless, it was shifting from dormancy. She opened a communication line to Dr. Alan Hayes, her former advisor and current director of the Western Volcanic Survey. Alan was cautious, conservative with his conclusions, but always honest. He picked up immediately, his face appearing in a dim-lit office cluttered with maps and geological tools. I heard about your suspension request, he said. Bold move. It wasn't a move, Emily replied. It was a necessity. Alan, we're picking up harmonic tremors at Ridge Site 4. Something's happening beneath the caldera. I need your take. She sent him the file packet, and he studied it in silence. Finally, he said, it's preliminary, but I see what you're seeing. It could be magma migration. Or a remobilization of ancient hydrothermal fluids. Either way, it's activity. You were right to call a halt. Can you back me at the DC briefing? She asked. Alan hesitated. You're walking into a political minefield, Emily. If you go in unprepared, they'll chew you up. I don't care, she said. If I stay silent, they'll tear up this land and wake something we can't control. Alan sighed. All right. I'll have my office send over a corroborating statement. But be careful. You've poked powerful interests. By noon, word had leaked to a major tech blog that Tesla had paused mining activities. The reaction was immediate and brutal. Stock markets twitched. Speculators panicked. A slew of op-eds appeared, questioning the timing, the science, and Emily's motives. One headline read, Geologist or Activist? The woman blocking America's lithium future. Another claimed she was in the pocket of foreign mining interests. It didn't matter that none of it was true, the damage was strategic, intended to discredit her. But Emily had faced worse. She packed her essentials, left Miguel in charge, and boarded the government-chartered jet that afternoon. The flight to DC was long and quiet. She barely ate, alternating between reviewing her data and staring out the window as the desert below gave way to the plains, then forests, then the dense sprawl of the capital. By the time she arrived, she was running on adrenaline. A black SUV met her at the tarmac and drove her straight to a federal complex near the Pentagon. Inside, she was greeted by a panel of 9 officials. Representatives from the Department of Energy, Interior, Defense, and Commerce. A few corporate lobbyists sat in the shadows, unacknowledged but very much present. At the head of the table sat Undersecretary Thomas Vance, a stern-faced man known for his hawkish energy policies. He gestured for her to begin. Emily plugged in her tablet and brought up a three-dimensional model of the McDermitt Caldera. In the last week, we've observed irregular seismic activity along the southern and northeastern edges of the caldera, she said. These are not standard tectonic tremors. We're seeing signs of subsurface fluid movement, possibly magma. If extraction continues, it could destabilize the area. A woman from Interior interrupted. Are you suggesting a supervolcano event? No, Emily replied. Not yet. But destabilization could lead to ground collapse, toxic gas emissions, or hydrothermal explosions. We're standing at the edge of a system we don't fully understand. A man from defense leaned forward. How confident are you in your analysis? 90%, she said. The remaining 10 is the part that terrifies me. There was silence. Then Vance spoke. The United States is behind China in critical mineral production. Lithium is essential for our electric grid, our military tech, and our economic independence. Are you prepared to tell the American people that your data justifies delaying the most promising lithium site in the country? Emily looked him dead in the eye. Yes. Because if we push forward blindly, we won't just delay progress. We'll trigger disaster. Vance narrowed his eyes. You've been publicly supported by environmentalist groups. Are your conclusions entirely objective? The question hung in the air, insulting and strategic. Emily didn't blink. My data speaks for itself. But if you're suggesting I'm biased because I don't want people to die, then yes, I'm biased toward survival. A faint smirk appeared on the lips of one commerce rep. Another took notes rapidly. Finally, Vance sighed. We'll order an independent verification team to the site. No further expansion until then. But make no mistake, Doctor, we intend to develop that mine. As she left the building, Emily felt a hollow mix of victory and dread. She'd bought time. But time, she knew, was a cruel and fleeting thing. Outside, reporters waited. She kept her head down, pushing past the cameras, but not before one shouted, Dr. Carter, do you think Elon Musk is backing down? She didn't answer. She didn't need to. That night, in her hotel room, she received a call from Miguel. His voice was rushed. Emily, you need to see this. We had a surface collapse. Northern Ridge. No injuries, but the ground opened up. A 20-foot sinkhole. Her blood went cold. Send me everything. As the files came in, she opened the drone video and watched in horror as the earth split like soft clay, dragging equipment and sensors into darkness. Dust billowed. Alarms flashed. We're shutting down field operations, Miguel said. Until the team from Washington arrives. Good, she said. Stay safe. She ended the call and looked at the screen again, watching the footage on loop. The earth was speaking louder now. And this time, no one could ignore it. Emily stared at the drone footage one more time, this time at half speed. The sinkhole had formed quickly but not violently, the earth had given way like damp cardboard, collapsing in a steady downward spiral rather than a chaotic implosion. That detail unnerved her more than anything. A sudden, explosive collapse would point to structural failure. But this? This looked orchestrated. Gradual subduction. Controlled displacement. As if something beneath the surface had pulled the land inward. Her inbox continued to flood with requests for interviews, data licensing, research collaborations. She ignored them all. She wasn't here to make a name. She was here to stop a catastrophe. The next morning, she returned to Nevada, this time with a federal escort. The DC briefing had bought her a temporary suspension of field activities and approval for an emergency geological survey team, for specialists with backgrounds in deep earth seismology, structural geology, geothermal systems, and geochemistry. They arrived at base camp by noon. She recognized one of them immediately, Dr. Marcus Lin, a volcanologist from the University of Hawaii who had been instrumental in understanding Kilauea's unpredictable patterns. We meet again, Marcus said, offering a tired smile. Didn't think we'd be doing this on continental ground. I wish it were under different circumstances, Emily replied. She debriefed the team on everything. The tremors, the thermal shifts, the sinkhole, the harmonic tremors. Miguel handed out updated sensor data while Marcus and the others reviewed topographic changes and spectral maps. By sunset, they were convinced, this wasn't just seismic activity. The McDermitt Caldera was waking up in a way that defied previous models. Marcus tapped the digital display with his pen. This isn't a classic magmatic intrusion. It's episodic. Controlled. There's a slow, circular stress pattern here, like a giant flexing muscle under the surface. Emily nodded. The lateral movement is consistent with ring fault reactivation. And it's accelerating. If that continues, we could see a phreatic eruption. One of the team, Dr. Priya Das, asked the question no one wanted to raise. What about supervolcanic activity? Is that even on the table? Emily shook her head. Not likely. There's no sign of a large-scale magma chamber inflation. But we could be seeing a remobilization of residual melt pockets. That's bad enough. Even a minor hydrothermal blast in this region could destroy everything in a 2-mile radius. Marcus leaned back in his chair. And we're sitting on top of $1 trillion lithium deposit. Which means they won't back off unless the ground swallows a building or two. That night, Emily took a walk alone beyond the edge of the compound. The high desert was still, the moonlight casting long shadows across cracked ground and dormant shrubs. She reached a ridge overlooking the collapsed zone and sat, knees drawn to her chest. The wind picked up slightly, brushing strands of her hair into her face. She closed her eyes and listened. The silence wasn't complete, there was a hum beneath it. A faint vibration she could feel more than hear, like the sub-bass resonance of something buried deep and breathing. Her phone buzzed. A message. Anonymous again. One sentence this time, you were warned. She stood immediately and scanned the area, her heart racing. A shadow moved behind the ridge, too far to see clearly but real enough to make her instinct scream. She pulled her flashlight and scanned the rocks, nothing. Whoever it was, they were gone. Back at camp, she reported the incident. Security swept the area but found no trace. No tire marks, no footprints. Only a fresh indentation in the dirt where someone had stood, watching. She didn't sleep. The next morning, the geothermal reading spiked. Site 9 registered a surface anomaly, a rise in ground temp by over 14 degrees Celsius in 12 hours. Emily and the team rushed there by ATV. What they found stunned them, a large circular depression, perfectly symmetrical, about 30 feet across and just a few inches deep, like the earth had exhaled and sagged. Around the rim were small vents, hissing faintly, releasing steam with a sour, metallic odor. Priya tested the gas. Carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and traces of hydrogen sulfide. We're looking at a subsurface pressure dome, she said. If this continues to grow, it could rupture, Marcus finished. Emily stepped back and pulled out her phone. She didn't hesitate. She called Elon Musk directly. He answered within seconds. Is this the call where you tell me I was right to hit pause? He said dryly. It's the call where I tell you if we don't evacuate non-essential personnel within the next 24 hours, we may be airlifting bodies, she said. Silence. Then a sigh. Done. We'll shut down completely. But this is going to explode politically. We're going to get hit from every direction. Better that than the caldera blowing up, she replied. He paused. I'll send a private risk assessment team, off the record. They'll be there tomorrow. Trust me. You want their input. The call ended. Emily was already thinking ahead. If this was truly a reactivation sequence of an old hydrothermal system, there might be a pattern. A cycle. She returned to the lab and pulled up historical seismic data from the last 50 years. She noticed something strange. Similar tremor signatures had occurred in 1997, 1983, and 1962. All minor. All dismissed as noise. But each was followed by sudden surface deformation within 5 years. It's not new, she whispered. It's been breathing like this for decades. That night, she received another message. A different tone this time. It's not the lithium they want. It's what's under it. Her breath caught. She showed the message to Miguel and Marcus. Could this be referring to magma? Marcus shook his head. Too vague. Could be a bluff. Could be something else entirely. But if there's a conspiracy here, someone's been sitting on secrets about this caldera for a long time. The next day, the private risk team arrived, 3 individuals, all in plain clothes, no agency IDs, just nondescript equipment and credentials marked only with a project name, Altair. They introduced themselves politely but asked few questions. They were focused, methodical. One of them, a woman named Dr. Lenore Mendez, approached Emily after an hour of silence. "You're not wrong," she said softly. "But there's something else we're looking for. Something older than the Caldera." "Older?" Emily asked. Lenore nodded. "Deep mineral layering anomalies. Geophysical echoes that don't match natural formations. Think of it like a signal bouncing back from inside the crust." Emily stared at her. "You think there's an object down there?" Lenore didn't answer. "We're here to verify something. If it's real, the lithium is just the surface prize. The real asset is buried far deeper." The pieces were coming together in Emily's mind. Corporate secrecy, geological instability, strange movement patterns, and now the suggestion of something artificial or unknown beneath the ancient layers. What if the entire mining rush was a distraction? A cover for accessing something buried beneath the crust, something old, something alien even? She tried to shake the thought. She was a scientist, grounded in evidence, not speculation. But the tremors, the symmetry, the messages, it was all too much to ignore. And the Earth, it seemed, was trying to unearth its own truth. That night, under a full moon, Emily climbed the ridge again. She watched the vents at Site 9 glimmer under silver light, steam curling into the air like ancient whispers. She didn't know what they were going to find. But she knew this: the McDermitt Caldera was no longer a geological feature. It was a ticking clock. The sun rose blood orange over the McDermitt Caldera, casting a surreal glow across the fractured landscape. Emily stood at the edge of the newly formed depression, her boots sinking slightly into the soft, warm earth. The vents at Site 9 were hissing louder today, steady streams of vapor escaping into the desert air like whispers from the underworld. Behind her, the rest of the team was gearing up. Marcus recalibrated seismic sensors, Priya was analyzing fresh gas samples, and Miguel was in radio contact with the Altair team, who had vanished beyond the eastern ridge hours earlier, chasing what they called a deep anomaly. They hadn't explained further, only said they'd found a clue in the latest stratigraphic scans. Emily didn't like it. They worked in silence. No wasted words. They didn't ask questions. They knew what they were looking for, which meant this wasn't about confirmation of geological risk. It was a recovery mission. As the morning heat built, she returned to the mobile lab to review the overnight recordings. The seismographs had picked up 3 new harmonic tremors. Each stronger than the last, each lasting longer. But it wasn't just the tremors. The frequency signature had shifted subtly, now pulsing at exact intervals. Mechanical intervals. That chilled her more than any gas reading. Natural events don't happen on a timer. She isolated the waveform and played it through audio software, converting the tremor pattern into sound. What emerged was a low, haunting tone, repeating every 64 seconds. A deep, resonant thrum. Almost like a heartbeat. Or a signal. She played it again. Then again. Something in her gut twisted. This wasn't a geological phenomenon. It was deliberate. Designed. Before she could process the implications, her radio crackled to life. Miguel's voice came through, tight with urgency. "Emily, we've got a situation. Altair's team just called in a level 3 code red from the East Ridge." Then the feed cut off. She grabbed her bag and ran to the jeep, Miguel already in the passenger seat. They sped off across the gravel, bouncing violently over ridges and dry channels until they reached the last known coordinates. The scene that greeted them was chaos. One of Altair's rovers was overturned near a shallow ravine, its front end crumpled like a soda can. Gear was scattered, cases cracked open, sensors fried. No bodies. No signs of struggle. But at the center of the clearing, partially buried in a crescent of cracked obsidian and sulfur-stained rock, was something Emily couldn't believe. A structure. Small, maybe 6 feet across, half buried in the earth. Not natural. Not even close. It had geometry, clean angles, metallic edges dulled by centuries of corrosion. She approached slowly, her breath catching as the heat around it intensified. The air shimmered. The closer she got, the more disoriented she felt, like her equilibrium was being pulled sideways. Miguel followed, camera in hand. "You seeing this?" he whispered. She nodded, reaching out instinctively, fingers hovering inches from the object's surface. It pulsed, just once, with a faint, bluish glow. She pulled back immediately. "What is this?" Miguel whispered. "A probe? A capsule?" "I don't know," she said. "But it's not ours. And it's not from this century." They circled it slowly. No inscriptions. No markings. But the material, it wasn't steel. It was denser, darker, like obsidian fused with metal. Suddenly, static buzzed in their earpieces. A voice, scrambled, digital, cut through. "You, were not meant, to see this." Miguel flinched. "What the hell?" The voice repeated, clearer this time. "You were not meant to see this." Then silence. Emily turned to Miguel. "That wasn't a recording." He nodded, pale. "That was live." She backed away from the object, her instincts screaming. They had to report this, whatever it was, it changed everything. They drove back to base at breakneck speed, dust trailing behind them like smoke. At the lab, Emily locked the door and uploaded the footage. She encrypted the files, then sent them to 2 people, Rachel, her sister, and Dr. Alan Hayes. No message. Just a file marked, East Ridge Discovery. She then called Marcus and Priya. They came in immediately. When she showed them the footage, Marcus's reaction was instant. "That's not a natural formation. That's engineered." Priya stared at the screen, her expression unreadable. "Do you think this is why the mining was pushed so aggressively? Not for lithium, but for this?" Emily nodded. "The lithium was just the bait. Whatever this is, it's the target." Marcus leaned forward. "If this is a buried structure, it could be emitting energy. That might explain the harmonic tremors. The temperature rises. Even the collapse patterns. And if it's waking up?" Emily asked. No one answered. That night, Emily received a call, from an unlisted number. She let it go to voicemail. Then she listened. A man's voice, calm and low. "You're getting too close. Stop immediately. Or we'll stop you." No name. No background noise. Just the threat. She sat motionless for a long time. Then she copied the message and sent it to Rachel. A few minutes later, her phone buzzed. A text from her sister, "What the hell is going on out there? I'm showing military satellites redirecting over McDermitt. Whatever you found, it's big." Emily texted back, "I don't know what it is. But I know it's not alone." She was right. At 3:14 a.m., the caldera shook. A quake, small, but sharp, like a slap. Instruments screamed. Alarms blared. She raced outside just as the ground near Site 9 burst upward. Not collapsed, erupted. A geyser of steam and ash blasted 20 feet into the air. The team scrambled, evacuating toward higher ground. The smell of sulfur was thick, choking. She watched in horror as the previously symmetrical depression cracked down the middle, revealing a fissure that pulsed with that same unnatural blue light they'd seen at the object. The earth was opening. And something below was responding. Miguel ran up beside her, eyes wide. "What do we do?" Emily whispered, "We find out what it wants. Before someone else uses it for what they want." Just then, her tablet beeped. A satellite ping from one of the probes placed deeper into the fault line had returned anomalous data. Beneath the caldera, at a depth of 4.2 kilometers, there was a chamber. Not magma. Not sediment. A void. Perfectly shaped. Oval. 300 meters wide. With structured walls. A buried facility. "We need to go deeper," Emily said. Marcus frowned. "We don't have equipment for that." "Then we make noise," she said. "We leak it. We let the world know. Someone will come looking. And they won't be able to deny it anymore." She called Rachel. "I need you to go public. Leak the satellite data. Leak everything." Rachel hesitated. "Are you sure? This will blow it all open." "Good," Emily said. "Because the Earth is trying to tell us something. And I'm done listening in silence." The satellite data went live at 6:12 a.m. Eastern Time. Rachel had dumped the files onto 3 public servers and anonymously tipped 2 independent science journalists she trusted, both known for chasing buried truth and refusing corporate dollars. By 6:45, one of them had verified the data and posted a short thread on X, breaking, "Newly released satellite data shows structured voids beneath the McDermitt Caldera in Nevada. Not natural. Not volcanic. Something's buried. Developing." The tweet exploded. Within hours, #McDermittMystery and #HiddenBeneath the Caldera were trending globally. Conspiracy theorists, geologists, UFO enthusiasts, and environmental watchdogs all descended on the story like vultures. Emily watched the firestorm unfold from the edge of the control tent, her fingers clenched around a paper cup of cold coffee. She'd wanted the truth out, but not like this. This was chaos. The base camp was now under lockdown. Black SUVs had arrived that morning. The Altair team had multiplied, now joined by unmarked tactical personnel setting up mobile jamming equipment. Drone traffic was being blocked. Communications throttled. A man in a clean, tailored suit approached her around noon. No badge. No name. Just a clipboard. "Dr. Carter," he said calmly, "you've made quite the mess." "I told the truth," she replied. "That's not a mess. That's light." He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "We've now classified the McDermitt site as a matter of national defense. You're being temporarily relieved of operational authority. You and your team will be escorted off the premises within the hour." "You can't do that," she said. "This is a civilian science operation. We're not under DoD jurisdiction." "We are now," he said. He handed her a non-disclosure agreement. "Sign this. Or your access to any U.S. scientific infrastructure ends today." Emily stared at the paper. Her heart thundered. Behind her, Miguel, Marcus, and Priya had gathered, tense. "They're trying to bury it again," Marcus muttered. "Just like every other anomaly they've sat on. If we leave, we lose everything," Priya whispered. "The data. The samples. The chance to understand what this thing really is." Emily made her choice. She dropped the pen. "No deal." The man in the suit sighed. "You've chosen poorly." 10 minutes later, they were escorted off-site. No violence, no cuffs. Just polite, cold efficiency. They weren't even allowed to collect their laptops. Everything left behind would be swept, wiped, repurposed under national interest. They drove in silence for an hour before pulling off a dusty road near the Nevada-Oregon border. Emily got out and stared back toward the faint shadow of the caldera on the horizon. The earth looked still. But she knew better. "We need a base," she said. "Somewhere we can regroup. Start again." Marcus opened a map. I know a place. Old geothermal test site from the 80s. Abandoned but still has some power and structure. We can set up shop there. By nightfall, they'd reached it, a squat concrete facility buried in a canyon, overgrown with sagebrush and dust. They cleared the main room, fired up an old generator, and began building their off-grid lab. Miguel managed to recover cached files from his portable drive, thermal maps, seismic data, and a copy of the drone footage from East Ridge. We may be out, he said, but we're not blind. That night, Emily sat outside the bunker staring at the stars. They felt different now. Closer. Like they were watching. Her phone buzzed. It was Rachel. They're trying to shut the story down. Platforms are flagging the posts as misinformation. Some accounts were deleted. But the copies are everywhere now. It's out there. What are people saying? Emily asked. Everything. Some think it's a crashed alien ship. Others say it's an ancient human structure. There's even a theory it's a deep Earth quantum computer from before our civilization. Emily laughed dryly. They're not wrong to guess wildly. We don't know what it is either. But you want to find out, Rachel said. I have to, Emily replied. Not just because it's buried. Because it's waking up. And someone needs to know what it wants. She paused. And I think it knows we're listening. At 3 a.m., the signal returned. A low-frequency pulse, same interval, same frequency, but stronger now. The Earth was humming, and it was getting louder. Emily plotted the signal vectors. It wasn't radiating outward. It was beaming upward, aimed toward space. A broadcast. It's not just a machine, she whispered. It's a transmitter. Marcus stared at the data. Then the caldera is the antenna. And the lithium? Priya added. It's the battery. Emily's eyes widened. What if they didn't want the lithium for cars or energy? Miguel finished the thought, they wanted it for power. To jumpstart something buried so deep, it needed a planet's worth of fuel. The implications hit like a tidal wave. Tesla's mining operation, the rush to harvest rare earths, it had always felt urgent. But now it looked like desperation. Like someone had known the truth and raced to awaken it before the planet figured out what they were doing. We need evidence, Emily said. Something undeniable. Miguel spoke up. We still have access to the old geothermal shaft nearby, used for deep core temperature tests in the 1980s. If that chamber sits at 4.2 kilometers, the shaft might get us close enough to send a probe. Marcus grinned. I've still got a Downwell rover prototype in my university lab. Could be retrofitted for this. Then that's our next move, Emily said. We go down. We see what's really beneath us. They spent the next 2 days building their plan. Rachel covertly shipped the prototype rover, called Raven, using a shell company's logistics chain. Marcus adapted the software for remote control, and Miguel handled the descent rig, spooling line and temperature sensors. Priya calibrated the instruments to read electromagnetic emissions and gravitational anomalies. On the third day, they launched the probe. It dropped smoothly into the shaft, transmitting clean telemetry. As it passed 2,000 meters, the temperature climbed sharply. At 3,000 meters, the magnetic field began to fluctuate. At 3,800, the camera feed cut for 2 seconds. When it returned, the shaft walls had changed. No longer ancient basalt. Smooth. Metallic. What is that? Miguel whispered. It's a casing, Priya said. The chamber is encapsulated in some kind of synthetic shell. Emily leaned in. We're almost there. At 4,200 meters, the probe stopped. Not because it reached the bottom, but because something blocked it. Something not rock. A surface. The camera rotated. Reflected in the lens was a symbol, glowing faintly, etched into the metallic shell. It wasn't human. Circular, but not random. Mathematical. Purposeful. Priya whispered, "We're looking at a vault." Just then, the signal spiked. The transmitter embedded in the caldera flared. All seismic equipment lit up. The earth trembled, not violently, but rhythmically. 4 pulses. Then silence. Then the voice returned, this time not in their headsets. Through the speakers. Through the earth itself. A vibration that became words. "Do not open what you do not understand." The team froze. Miguel stammered, "That wasn't interference." Emily whispered, "It was a warning." The speakers crackled once more. Then silence returned. But no one could shake the feeling that something far beneath them had heard their knock, and had finally answered. Emily sat motionless, eyes locked on the now silent screen, the final vibration of the Earth's voice still echoing through her bones. No one spoke for a long time. Even Marcus, usually the first to rationalize anything, was pale, lips pressed into a hard line. Priya stood slowly, stepping back from the equipment like it might lash out. "We need to shut it down," she said. "Seal the shaft. Destroy the probe. We're not equipped for this. We're scientists. Not diplomats to whatever the hell that was." Emily didn't answer right away. Her mind was racing, not just through the facts, because facts were few, but through the implications. Someone had buried something beneath McDermitt Caldera. Something ancient. Something intelligent. Or once intelligent. Something that now responded to their presence with a warning. The truth was undeniable now. This was not just a geological anomaly. It wasn't just a technological relic. It was a boundary. A lock. And they were on the edge of turning the key. "If we walk away now," Emily said, her voice steady, "they'll come back. The ones who tried to bury it. The ones who want to use it. And if we stay?" Marcus asked. "Then we understand it," she replied. "Because that's the only way to know if it's a threat, or a solution." The team reconvened at dawn, tension thick in the stale air of the bunker. The probe was still lodged at the 4.2-kilometer mark. The feed remained dead, though a weak electrical signal still flowed from the sensors. Priya worked overnight to decode the symbol etched into the metallic casing. "It's not language in the traditional sense," she explained. "It's frequency-based. The geometry of a waveform, not a word. It's a warning encoded as a harmonic pattern. A kind of mathematical stop sign." Miguel stared at it. "You're saying whoever built this communicates with sound?" "Vibration," she corrected. "Sound is just a carrier. The real message is in the resonance." "Which means," Emily said slowly, "we responded when we sent our probe down. Our instruments hummed. Moved. And that was enough to trigger a reply." Marcus exhaled. "We knocked. It answered." That afternoon, a private plane arrived at a strip 15 miles away from the bunker. Rachel stepped out, dressed in black, sunglasses shielding tired eyes. She carried a laptop in one hand and a hard case in the other. Emily embraced her tightly. "You shouldn't have come," she whispered. Rachel pulled back. "I had to. The NSA tried to shut me down. Someone broke into my apartment. They didn't steal anything. Just left a printout of the same seismic map you sent me. No message. Just the image. Like they were telling me they're watching." "They are," Emily said. "And they're afraid of what we've found." Inside the bunker, Rachel reviewed the footage, the signal, the voice. "This is not some natural anomaly," she said. "This is a mechanism. Something deeply buried to do something. Or stop something." Emily nodded. "And I think it's powering up. Rachel placed the hard case on the table and opened it. Inside was a portable quantum resonance analyzer, a prototype device built for analyzing subatomic fluctuations in particle accelerators. "I borrowed it," she said. "It might give us a better look at whatever's generating that signal. If there's a field surrounding the chamber, this will see it." They connected the analyzer to the shaft sensors and began collecting data. The results were staggering. A persistent, low-frequency pulse emanated from the chamber, modulating every 6 hours. Like a timer. Or a heartbeat. Worse, it was accelerating. "It's waking up," Marcus said. "Or preparing for something," Rachel added. "Like a countdown." Emily's voice was quiet. "To what?" That night, the quake hit. Stronger than before. 5.6 on the Richter scale. The earth rolled like an angry sea, knocking equipment over, cracking one of the bunker's outer walls. Dust poured from the ceiling. The team huddled in the core lab, watching seismic data spike. Site 9, now under federal control, was experiencing fissures, long, glowing cracks forming concentric rings around the original vent. Drone footage from public satellites captured glowing vapor and light pulses from within. Someone had tried to seal it. Concrete and steel. It hadn't worked. The ground was rejecting the intrusion. And at the center of it all was the buried chamber. "They're still trying to control it," Emily muttered. "Like it's a tech problem. Like they can put a lid on an awakening world engine." Rachel pointed at the data. "We're running out of time. At this rate, the modulation will reach peak frequency in 4 days. If it's a power curve, that could mean a detonation. Or an opening. Or a signal," Miguel added. "Broadcasted to space. To whoever, or whatever, put it here." The idea silenced the room. They weren't just dealing with something buried. They were sitting on a beacon. A buried flare aimed at the stars. "If that's true," Priya said slowly, "then maybe the lithium isn't the power source. Maybe it's the trigger. The thing that completed the circuit." "And Musk?" Rachel asked. "He thought he was fueling the future. But he might have just armed a cosmic transmitter." Emily leaned forward. "Then we have to find a way to stop it. Or redirect it. Something." Marcus shook his head. "We don't even know what it's trying to do." "Then we ask it," Emily said. "We talk to it. We send a reply." Silence fell again. Everyone stared at her like she'd gone mad. "Emily," Priya said. "You heard what it said. Do not open what you do not understand." "Exactly," she replied. "That's not a threat. That's a rule. Something it's been following. And maybe it thinks we're ready to break that rule. So we show it, we want to listen. Not break. Understand?" Rachel nodded slowly. "We send a counter-frequency. A reply encoded the same way. We show intention." They spent the next 24 hours designing the signal. Using Priya's waveform analysis, they crafted a harmonic reply, simple, repeating, non-aggressive. A digital, "We hear you. We do not intend harm." At dawn, they transmitted it through the shaft, low power, short burst, designed to mirror the structure of the original signal. For hours, nothing happened. The Earth was silent again. Until 3:21 p.m. when the probe at 4.2 kilometers came back online. The camera feed blinked to life. The casing had changed. The symbol now pulsed softly, no longer static. Beneath it, a seam had appeared. A doorway. It opened, Rachel whispered. Emily stared, her heart in her throat. "It's letting us in." The signal surged. The countdown curve flatlined. Whatever was building had stopped. Emily turned to the team. "We're going down. The air in the control room was electric with tension as the image from the probe flickered across the screen. The chamber's surface, once cold and inert, now glowed with a dull bioluminescent hue, tracing lines across the curved walls like veins under translucent skin. The seam beneath the symbol had split just enough to reveal a narrow entry, no larger than a person could crawl through. It wasn't just an opening, it was an invitation. Emily stood in front of the monitor, transfixed. Behind her, the team whispered quietly, debating what this meant. But she already knew. This was their chance, not to guess, not to speculate, but to witness. "We need eyes down there," she said. "Real eyes." Miguel blinked. "You're not thinking of sending a person down?" "Not yet," Emily replied. "We prep Raven for a secondary descent. This time, autonomous movement inside the chamber. Cameras, sampling tools, LiDAR mapping. We go in slow. We don't touch anything." Marcus nodded slowly. "I'll reprogram the movement algorithm. We can keep it just outside the doorway at first. No sudden contact." For the next 6 hours, the bunker buzzed with focused energy. Miguel rigged the new lighting system, and Priya added atmospheric sensors to detect any gas compositions that might escape the chamber. Rachel monitored global chatter. News agencies were now speculating on a possible cover-up at McDermitt. Satellite images were being censored or replaced. Public drones sent into the area were being jammed or destroyed. But the rumor mill had taken on a life of its own. Some said the government had discovered an ancient alien reactor. Others thought it was an Atlantean relic. A few believed it was a nuclear weapon, long buried and forgotten. And buried within those layers of fantasy, closer than anyone knew, was the truth. At 2:15 a.m., the modified Raven began its descent. The winch hummed quietly, lowering the device back into the geothermal shaft, deeper and deeper until it reached the same 4.2-kilometer mark. The feed buzzed once, then stabilized. The seam in the metal wall had widened further, enough for the probe to slip through. Emily gave the command. "Proceed." Slowly. Raven glided forward on its tank treads, crossing the threshold into the chamber. The moment it passed through, the video feed adjusted. Lighting shifted. The internal walls of the chamber began to shimmer as if reacting to the probe's presence. The readings were off the charts. The magnetic field spiked, then normalized. Radiation levels, 0. Gravity, still within Earth norm, but slightly inconsistent, pulsing. As if the room had its own heartbeat. "LiDAR coming online," Marcus said. "Mapping now." The schematic emerged slowly, pixel by pixel. A dome-shaped interior, approximately 70 feet in diameter, with ribbed support stretching from floor to ceiling like the inside of a nautilus shell. The surface was metallic, but interspersed with patches of a crystalline substance, blue, transparent, arranged in perfect tessellations. Then the probe turned and the camera caught it. At the far end of the chamber stood an object. 10 feet tall. Cylindrical. Floating 6 inches above the ground. Not suspended. Not on a platform. Floating. Priya whispered, "That's not possible." "Magnetic levitation?" Rachel suggested. "At that height and stability? No way. That's anti-gravity or something else entirely." Emily zoomed in. The object pulsed softly, as if breathing. It wasn't spinning, but the patterns on its surface moved in a slow swirl, like a galaxy in miniature. "Approach to within 10 feet, Emily instructed. The probe inched closer. At 5 feet, the lights flickered. The screen scrambled, then recovered. Priya checked the readings. "It's interacting with the signal. It's resonating with us." "Send another harmonic," Emily said. "Same frequency as before, but double the amplitude. See if it reacts." Miguel adjusted the transmitter and fired the signal. For 1 full minute, nothing happened. Then, the object responded. A pulse of light shot from its center and struck the ground in front of the probe. Instantly, a holographic image bloomed upward. It was not a language, not a diagram. It was, stars. A stellar map, slowly rotating, showing constellations no one recognized, until Rachel froze the image and overlaid it with an ancient star chart. These constellations, they're from our solar neighborhood, but 50,000 years ago. A time capsule, Emily said. Or a message for the future. For us. The map rotated and zoomed in on a particular system. A binary star, with several planets. One blinked red. A marker. Then the image shifted again. This time, it showed Earth. A line connected the two. From there to here. And then it split. One line continued past Earth, deeper into space. Another curled inward, toward the core of the Earth itself. Two trajectories, Marcus said. One outward. One inward. Priya looked pale. What if this wasn't just a beacon? What if it's a relay? A junction between something above, and something below? Emily's eyes darkened. What if this isn't the first time? The probe moved slightly as if nudged. Not by a mechanical force, but by command. The object responded again. This time, the chamber itself began to vibrate, softly, rhythmically, the walls lighting up in sync. Then the central device emitted one more burst of light. It struck the probe. All telemetry went dark. The video feed froze. Total blackout. What just happened? Miguel asked. EMP. Marcus shook his head. No, we're still getting power. The signal is intact. The probe just stopped broadcasting. Rachel was already checking backups. We're not being jammed. It's more like something pulled the probe offline. Not destroyed it. Just disconnected it. Priya looked uneasy. Like it didn't want to be seen anymore. For the next hour, they tried everything, reboots, resets, signal overrides. Nothing worked. The probe was in the chamber, alive but mute. The door had closed again. A faint vibration pulsed through the shaft, as if breathing had resumed. Emily stood, staring at the monitor. It showed us the stars. It showed us a message. And then it shut us out. Miguel frowned. What does that mean? It means, she said slowly, we passed the first test. But the next one won't be remote. It wants us. One of us. The team looked at her in stunned silence. She nodded. We've gone as far as we can with machines. It's time for a person to go inside. That's insane, Priya said. We don't even know what kind of atmosphere is in there, or if it's toxic, or lethal. We know it didn't destroy the probe. We know it opened in response to peaceful signals. And we know it chose to show us something instead of shutting us out completely. This isn't a trap. It's a threshold. Rachel's eyes met hers. And you're going to cross it? Yes, Emily said. I'm the one it's been answering. I'm the one who's listened from the beginning. I have to see it with my own eyes. Miguel nodded slowly. Then we build you a suit. Pressurized. Shielded. And we monitor every second. Marcus added, we'll rig a safety line. If anything changes, we pull you out. Emily looked around the room, at her team, her sister, her makeshift family. This is what we're here for. Not the lithium. Not the mystery. The truth. Whatever it is. That night, the stars above Nevada burned cold and clear, watching silently as the earth itself whispered secrets to a woman who had dared to listen. The suit was a Frankenstein of borrowed parts and last-minute engineering, pressure-rated composite plating from an old mining exosuit, carbon filter rebreathers scavenged from a decommissioned fire rescue rig, and a helmet retrofitted with a LiDAR and EEG interface originally designed for extreme altitude research. It wasn't pretty, but it would keep Emily alive, at least in theory. A ring of light flared up around her, encasing her in what looked like a transparent column of energy. The outside world dimmed. The voices in her ear faded. "I've lost comms," Rachel said, voice crackling. "Emily, do you read?" Emily couldn't hear them anymore. The chamber wasn't silent, it was speaking. The walls around her shifted, displaying new images, new memories, not drawn or beamed, but injected directly into her mind. She saw Earth, millions of years ago, oceans boiling, continents shifting, and then a descent. A craft or an object plummeting from orbit, embedding itself in the crust like a seed. She saw creatures watching from space, not organic, not mechanical, something in between. Observers. Shepherds. They had placed this device not as a warning, but as a question. A question meant only to be answered once the species that found it was ready to ask the right one. And then she saw something else. The pulse they had sent, the one that opened the door, it had echoed outward. Not just through Earth, but into space. A flare. A signal. We are here. Something ancient had turned to look. Something far beyond their understanding. And it was coming. The chamber shimmered again, and the vision ended. The light column vanished. Communications crackled back into her headset. "Emily. Do you copy?" "I'm here," she breathed. "I saw them. Or it. Or what's left of them." "Who?" Priya asked. "Who's them?" "Not aliens," Emily said. "Not as we think of them. They were the architects. They planted these devices across developing worlds. Vaults of knowledge. But also, of containment." "Containment of what?" Miguel asked. Emily turned slowly. "Of whatever's below." The chamber vibrated again, and a soft pulse emitted from the center of the device. The seam on the floor beneath it began to split. A second layer. A deeper lock. "It's opening another level," she said. "It thinks we're ready." Rachel's voice was sharp now. "Emily, get out of there. We don't know what's underneath. This could be the real threat." "I agree," Priya added. "First it shows us stars, now it opens the basement. That's not escalation. That's bait." Emily didn't move. "No. It's not bait. It's testing us again. And I need to see." "Don't go down there alone," Miguel said. "We don't even have a way to reach you if the winch fails." "I won't go far," she replied. She approached the new opening. A soft staircase had unfolded, spiraling downward in perfect symmetry, lit by the same bioluminescent blue. Every instinct screamed at her to stop. But a deeper part, older, maybe, or simply braver, pushed her forward. She descended. Each step echoed, not just through the chamber, but through her very bones. Halfway down, the temperature dropped, and the air took on a strange weight. It wasn't pressure. It was memory. Like walking through a museum of time. At the base of the stairs was a circular platform. A ring of light flared up around her, encasing her in what looked like a transparent column of energy. The outside world dimmed. The voices in her ear faded. "I've lost comms," Rachel said, voice crackling. "Emily, do you read?" Emily couldn't hear them anymore. The chamber wasn't silent, it was speaking. The walls around her shifted, displaying new images, new memories, not drawn or beamed, but injected directly into her mind. She saw Earth, millions of years ago, oceans boiling, continents shifting, and then a descent. A craft or an object plummeting from orbit, embedding itself in the crust like a seed. She saw creatures watching from space, not organic, not mechanical, something in between. Observers. Shepherds. They had placed this device not as a warning, but as a question. A question meant only to be answered once the species that found it was ready to ask the right one. And then she saw something else. The pulse they had sent, the one that opened the door, it had echoed outward. Not just through Earth, but into space. A flare. A signal. We are here. Something ancient had turned to look. Something far beyond their understanding. And it was coming. The chamber shimmered again, and the vision ended. The light column vanished. Communications crackled back into her headset. Emily. Do you copy? I'm here, she breathed. I saw them. Or it. Or what's left of them. Who? Priya asked. Who's them? Not aliens, Emily said. Not as we think of them. They were the architects. They planted these devices across developing worlds. Vaults of knowledge. But also, of containment. Containment of what? Miguel asked. Emily turned slowly. Of whatever's below. The chamber vibrated again, and a soft pulse emitted from the center of the device. The seam on the floor beneath it began to split. A second layer. A deeper lock. It's opening another level, she said. It thinks we're ready. Rachel's voice was sharp now. Emily, get out of there. We don't know what's underneath. This could be the real threat. I agree, Priya added. First it shows us stars, now it opens the basement. That's not escalation. That's bait. Emily didn't move. No. It's not bait. It's testing us again. And I need to see. Don't go down there alone, Miguel said. We don't even have a way to reach you if the winch fails. I won't go far, she replied. She approached the new opening. A soft staircase had unfolded, spiraling downward in perfect symmetry, lit by the same bioluminescent blue. Every instinct screamed at her to stop. But a deeper part, older, maybe, or simply braver, pushed her forward. She descended. Each step echoed, not just through the chamber, but through her very bones. Halfway down, the temperature dropped, and the air took on a strange weight. It wasn't pressure. It was memory. Like walking through a museum of time. At the base of the stairs was a circular platform. She stepped into it slowly, with the same calm resolve of someone entering orbit, not just a hole in the Nevada desert. Miguel triple-checked the seals, while Rachel affixed a transmitter directly to her collarbone to bypass any electromagnetic interference from the chamber. Marcus rigged a winch and pulley system to lower her into the geothermal shaft, while Priya monitored real-time vitals and environmental data. You'll be tethered the whole time, Marcus reminded her. The moment anything spikes, radiation, pressure, EM, we pull you out. Copy that, Emily said. Don't pull unless I say, 3 echoes. 3 echoes? Rachel asked. Emily smiled faintly through the helmet. If anything tries to mimic my voice or my words, that's the phrase I'll use. Just in case. Rachel gave her a long look. You're assuming this thing is capable of more than vibration. It showed us a star map, Emily said. It didn't draw it. It created it. If it wanted us to stay out, it could have buried itself. Instead, it opened a door. With a final nod, she stepped into the cradle of the rig. The winch hissed to life, and the shaft swallowed her whole. As she descended into darkness, only the faint red glow of LED markers and the subtle hum of her own breath reminded her she was still tethered to the surface. At 2,000 meters, the air became cooler. Denser. At 3,500, the LiDAR on her wrist began to flicker. The earth around her was no longer rock, it was something smoother. Fabricated. The moment she crossed 4,200 meters, everything changed. Her boots touched down softly onto the chamber floor, which shimmered faintly beneath her. The curved walls pulsed slowly, glowing veins stretching across them like the capillaries of some ancient biological giant. In the center of the room hovered the device, unchanged in form but now radiant with a gentle blue light. She turned slowly, scanning every inch. "I'm inside," she said. "Pressure stable. Temperature, 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Air's breathable, but I'm keeping the helmet on. Reading you loud and clear," Rachel said through the headset. "Suit telemetry's holding." Emily stepped closer to the object. "It's humming. Not just vibrating. It's alive." The floor beneath her vibrated in rhythm with her footsteps, not in response, but in synchrony, like a symphony tuning to her frequency. She paused in front of the floating cylinder, now less like a machine and more like a presence. "Requesting to initiate contact," she said. "Signal pulse ready." "Go ahead," Miguel replied. She pressed the trigger on her wrist console. A harmonic wave, similar to the one they had sent before, dispersed into the chamber. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the light surrounding the device brightened, and the symbol on its surface rotated and folded like a multidimensional puzzle. The humming ceased. The chamber, the pedestal, the air itself, paused. Then, from the sphere, a voice, not in her ears, but in her mind, spoke one word: soon. And in that moment, she understood. The sphere was not the threat. It was the lock. And the countdown hadn't been cancelled. It had merely been acknowledged. Above her, alarms blared. Her team screamed into the headset. Earth itself had begun to tremble again. Emily turned and raced up the steps, breath heavy in the helmet, legs sluggish from gravity's strange tug. She reached the top just as the chamber's outer door hissed open. The winch engaged. They pulled her out fast, just as the vibrations intensified. The moment her boots left the chamber, the door sealed again, seamless. Silent. The earth stilled. Back in the bunker, she pulled off her helmet and gasped for air. "What did you see?" Rachel asked. Emily didn't answer for a long time. Then she looked up, eyes filled with something between fear and awe. "It's not just a vault. It's a warning beacon. And it's no longer waiting." Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? The tremors that shook the McDermitt Caldera were no longer subtle vibrations, they had escalated into a deep, resonant roar felt miles beyond the geothermal ridge. Across the monitoring stations, seismographs registered unprecedented spikes, each wave pulsing with an almost rhythmic certainty, as if the Earth itself was trying to communicate. Emily sat at the command console, still processing the surreal experience from inside the chamber. Her team scrambled around her, their faces pale but determined. "We've got a situation," Miguel said, tapping rapidly on his keyboard. "These tremors aren't random. They follow a pattern consistent with the energy signature we saw inside the chamber. It's like a heartbeat, and it's speeding up." Rachel's eyes flicked to the satellite feeds. "And it's not just local. Remote sensing satellites are picking up heat signatures along fault lines stretching from the caldera all the way to the Pacific Northwest. The pressure's building." Priya's voice was tight with worry. "If the caldera goes, the consequences could be catastrophic. We're talking about a potential supervolcanic eruption, ash clouds, seismic shockwaves, climate disruption. This isn't a drill. Which is why we can't just evacuate and run," Emily said. "Whatever's down there, whatever that sphere represents, it's tied directly to this energy. We have to understand it before it's too late." Elon Musk's name buzzed quietly in her mind. The media had latched onto the story and dubbed him the unexpected figurehead in this crisis, given his company's involvement in the nearby lithium mining operations and his public interest in planetary defense and space colonization. Although Elon wasn't officially part of their team, the government had reached out to his expertise in advanced tech and risk mitigation. Word was he was on his way. "I'm setting up a data relay for emergency communication," Marcus announced. "If we lose direct comms again, this should keep us connected." Emily nodded, the weight of responsibility settling over her like a shroud. The team was working at the edge of human knowledge, grappling with phenomena that defied conventional science. Hours later, the bunker's heavy steel door creaked open, and Elon Musk stepped in, his trademark casual confidence undercut by the gravity of the moment. He shook hands with Emily and the others, scanning the screens with sharp eyes. "I've been briefed," Elon said. "You're dealing with something that's both ancient and advanced. Something designed to keep us honest." "That's one way to put it," Emily replied. "It showed us a map, a timeline, and then a warning. It's like a failsafe, activated when a civilization reaches a certain point." Elon's fingers tapped rhythmically on the console. "We have a window. The Earth's increasing seismic activity means the mechanism is activating. If it's some kind of containment system, then whatever it's containing is waking up." "Exactly," Priya said. "And we don't know what it is. Or what will happen if the caldera erupts," Rachel added. "Could the release trigger something far worse than lava and ash?" Elon nodded thoughtfully. "This changes how we think about planetary geology, and about threats from within. It's not just tectonic plates. It's a security system." The team turned to their screens, sifting through terabytes of data. Satellite imagery, seismic logs, atmospheric readings, and the probe's recordings. Elon proposed a bold plan: we need to stabilize the caldera's energy. If the sphere is a lock, then maybe it has a key. Something we can interface with remotely, or physically. Emily shook her head. "We only got brief access. Any attempt to force it could backfire. We risk triggering a premature release." Elon smirked. "You haven't met my engineers." The next 48 hours were a frenzy of activity. Elon's team collaborated with Emily's scientists, developing drones equipped with advanced sensors and quantum processors, designed to analyze the chamber without disturbing it. They launched satellites equipped with gravimetric scanners, attempting to map the core's shifting mass. But the deeper they probed, the more unstable the signals became. On the third day, a tremor rolled through the caldera so powerful it knocked monitors off their stands. The ground outside cracked, and smoke hissed from fissures opening nearby. The team scrambled to reinforce the bunker's integrity. "We're running out of time," Emily said grimly. "The Earth is telling us something, and we have to listen." Late that evening, Elon pulled Emily aside. "What if the sphere isn't just a lock or a beacon? What if it's also a trigger, a control mechanism for the caldera itself?" Emily considered this. It would explain the pulsations. The way it reacts to signals, almost like it's communicating with the planet. We have to find a way to interface with it directly. I'm assembling a remote interface device, something to synchronize with the sphere's frequency. The hours stretched on, the bunker lit by screens and the occasional flicker of emergency lights. Emily couldn't shake the feeling that something vast and ancient was watching, waiting. Her thoughts drifted to the earlier vision, the star maps, the observers, the countdown. What if their awakening wasn't limited to the Earth? What if the caldera's energy surge was a signal sent far beyond the atmosphere? At dawn, a breakthrough came. The drones detected a faint electromagnetic resonance within the chamber, matching the sphere's pulse. Elon's interface device locked onto the frequency, and the team watched breathlessly as the system hummed to life. The sphere responded, brightening to an intense blue-white glow. Then, without warning, the entire chamber shook violently. Monitors flickered and alarms blared as seismic activity spiked dangerously. "Cut the signal!" Marcus shouted. Elon hesitated, then severed the connection. The sphere dimmed and the chamber stilled. For a moment, silence fell. Then, a new image appeared on Emily's screen, a complex three-dimensional glyph, shifting and rotating in impossible geometry. Rachel leaned forward. "It's a message." "Not just a message," Priya whispered. "A key." Elon's voice was steady. "If we can decode it, we might be able to stabilize the caldera. Or at least delay the eruption." The team dove into the glyph's patterns, cross-referencing ancient languages, quantum encryption algorithms, and astrophysical data. Days passed in feverish collaboration. Public anxiety grew as news of the seismic unrest leaked through official channels, stirring panic. Governments began mobilizing emergency plans for the worst-case scenario. Then, in a late-night breakthrough, Emily's sister, Lila, discovered a recurring fractal pattern in the glyph's layers, a sequence that matched the caldera's vibration rhythm. "It's a harmonic cipher," she explained. "The sphere's pulse is the baseline. The glyph encodes a frequency sequence to dampen the Earth's tremors." Elon grinned. "Music to my ears." The team began developing a transmitter to broadcast the harmonic sequence directly into the chamber, hoping to resonate with the sphere and calm the caldera's fury. On the day of the test, the bunker was tense. Elon stood beside Emily. "If this works," he said, "it's a proof that advanced civilizations can create fail-safes at a planetary scale. And maybe, just maybe, that we're not alone." The harmonic signal pulsed through the chamber. Slowly, the trembling began to ease. The sphere's glow softened, and seismic readings stabilized. Cheers erupted in the control room. But the victory was short-lived. Suddenly, the chamber's walls flickered, revealing a new projection, a star system's spiral arms converging on Earth. The countdown resumed, faster than before. Elon's smile faded. "We've only bought time." Emily swallowed hard. "Then we prepare. Because whatever's coming, it's closer than we thought." Outside, the sky began to darken as a silent storm gathered, the Earth itself holding its breath. The storm rolling in over the Nevada desert wasn't natural. Emily knew that now. The blackened sky twisted in unnatural spirals, a swirling vortex that seemed to pulse in rhythm with the sphere deep beneath the caldera. Lightning crackled with an eerie blue glow, illuminating the jagged edges of the fissures that had opened around their research site. The team was gathered inside the bunker, their eyes fixed on the array of monitors displaying real-time seismic and atmospheric data. Elon stood silently beside Emily, his usual confidence tempered by the gravity of the moment. "The storm is directly linked to the caldera's activity," Rachel said, her voice tense. "Electromagnetic readings are off the charts. This isn't just volcanic gas and ash, it's charged plasma interacting with the atmosphere. It's like the Earth is trying to shield itself," Priya added. "A magnetic defense." Outside, the winds howled as the desert seemed to come alive with energy. The once sparse landscape shimmered with electric arcs tracing the new fault lines. Emily's mind raced. The sphere, the glyph, the harmonic signal, they had bought time, yes, but it was clear now that this was a battle on multiple fronts. Not just geological, but cosmic. If this storm continues, it could disrupt satellite communications, Marcus warned. We could lose contact with critical data feeds and our remote drones. Elon's gaze hardened. "We have to move faster. If the sphere is a lock, the key is a code, but the code changes with the environment. We need a dynamic interface." Emily nodded. "We'll have to send a manned mission back into the chamber to recalibrate the transmitter directly." The room fell silent. No one needed to say it aloud, going back inside meant risking another encounter with whatever intelligence or mechanism resided there. But the urgency was undeniable. That evening, Emily prepared once again to descend into the chamber. This time, however, her suit had been upgraded with new shielding and an AI-driven feedback system designed to interpret and respond to the sphere's shifting signals in real time. "You're the only one with the knowledge and courage to do this," Elon said as he handed her the helmet. "We're all counting on you." She nodded, swallowing her fear. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? The voice in her helmet repeated the words back to her, a small comfort in the vast unknown. Lowered into the chamber once more, Emily's senses heightened. The walls pulsed softly with the same blue glow, but now the space felt more alive, more responsive. As she approached the sphere, the AI system in her suit began to translate the glyph's fractal patterns into a shifting audio frequency, a song woven into the planet's heartbeat. "It's communicating through sound," she whispered into her comms. "The chamber is a massive resonator." The sphere pulsed in time with the audio signals, but suddenly, the room's temperature dropped sharply, and the blue light flickered erratically. Emily steadied herself as the sphere began to project new images, swirling galaxies, collapsing stars, and distant worlds being consumed by cosmic storms. "They're showing us what's at stake," she said. "This isn't just about Earth. It's about survival across the universe." Back in the bunker, Elon monitored the feed with growing concern. The countdown's accelerating. Whatever's coming is drawing nearer. The AI assistant in Emily's suit detected a pattern, a code hidden within the cosmic images. She adjusted the transmitter to mimic the sequence, hoping to sync with the sphere's changing rhythm. Suddenly, the chamber shook violently, and the light dimmed. The sphere fractured, sending out a shockwave that temporarily knocked out Emily's comms. She struggled to maintain control as the floor beneath her began to shift. The chamber was transforming, revealing a hidden passage spiraling deeper into the earth. "I'm going down," she said when communication was restored. "This is the core of the mechanism. I need to find out what powers it." Her descent was slow and perilous. The walls now resembled a crystalline lattice, shimmering with embedded stars and nebulae, like walking inside a universe made of light and stone. At the bottom, she found a pedestal holding a smaller orb, crackling with raw energy. The sphere she'd seen earlier was just the outer lock. This was the source. As she reached out to touch it, a voice echoed in her mind, calm yet authoritative. "You have awakened the keepers." Emily gasped. "Who are you?" The realization hit her, this was not just a machine, but an ancient intelligence designed to prevent catastrophe across civilizations. "The countdown," she said. "The eruption. It's a test." "A cycle," the voice said. "When a world reaches a critical point, we activate containment. You have disrupted the cycle. Now, you must choose, accelerate the renewal, or delay it." "Delay," Emily whispered. "We're not ready." "Then you must align the frequencies," the voice instructed. "Balance the pulse, or the cycle will complete itself without you." Using the AI suit interface, Emily synchronized the transmitter to the orb's energy, adjusting the harmonic patterns. Slowly, the chamber's tremors lessened. The storm outside began to dissipate. The orb's glow softened to a steady pulse, and the deep roar of the earth quieted. Back in the bunker, the team erupted in cheers as seismic readings stabilized. Elon turned to Emily, relief evident in his eyes. "You did it." Emily smiled faintly, though the weight of their discovery remained heavy. "We bought more time. But the Keeper's message is clear, this balance is fragile. We have a role now, guardians as well." As the storm cleared, sunlight broke over the horizon, casting golden light across the cracked desert. The earth seemed to breathe easier, but the shadows beneath remained. Somewhere beyond the stars, the ancient watchers still observed, waiting for the next question, the next challenge, the next awakening. Emily looked up, heart steady. Whatever came next, humanity would face it together, stronger, wiser, and forever changed. The calm after the storm was deceptive. The McDermitt Caldera seemed to settle, its violent tremors silenced for the first time in weeks, but beneath the surface, something else was stirring. Emily sat back in the bunker's command chair, eyes heavy but alert. The data stream showed stability, but the AI interface in her suit had recorded subtle energy fluctuations. Like the planet itself was whispering secrets just beyond human perception. Elon paced the room, his mind clearly racing. "We may have delayed the eruption," he said, "but we haven't stopped the cycle. The keepers warned us, balance is fragile. We need a long-term solution. And that's why we need to understand their technology fully," Emily replied. "The harmonic resonance worked because it synchronized with the planet's pulse, but what about other worlds? Other cycles?" Marcus pulled up satellite scans of similar volcanic hotspots worldwide. McDermitt might be unique, but there are others, Yellowstone, Toba, Campi Flegrei, each with its own risks. If this mechanism is universal, we could be on the brink of a planetary paradigm shift. Priya frowned. What if the Keeper's cycle is tied to human activity? We've pushed Earth's limits, climate change, resource extraction, population growth. Maybe that's why the caldera is reacting now. Rachel's voice was quieter but no less firm. We've seen how interconnected the systems are. Our technology, our energy use, it all feeds into this planetary balance. Elon nodded. It's a wake-up call. We can't treat Earth like an infinite resource. If we want to survive, we have to respect the mechanisms keeping us alive. The next days were spent in intense research and analysis. Emily coordinated with global teams, sharing their findings and seeking data on seismic and electromagnetic anomalies elsewhere. The world's leading geologists, physicists, and AI specialists pored over the glyphs, signals, and harmonic codes. Meanwhile, Elon pushed for advancements in clean energy and environmental monitoring, advocating publicly for a new era of planetary stewardship. Late one night, Emily's AI detected a subtle shift in the sphere's emissions. She returned to the chamber with a small remote probe designed to interact with the orb's energy field. As the probe approached, the sphere's glow shifted from blue-white to a deep violet, sending ripples of color through the crystalline walls. Suddenly, the chamber walls dissolved into a starfield, revealing a breathtaking cosmic vista. The voice of the keepers returned, calm and resonant. You have chosen delay, and thus preservation. But preservation requires understanding. Emily's heart pounded. What must we do? Learn. Adapt. Teach. The sphere projected visions of distant planets, civilizations rising and falling, lessons etched in time. Your world's fate is intertwined with the cosmos. Your survival depends on unity, within your species, and with the greater universe. Back in the bunker, Elon watched the feed with growing awe. This changes everything. We're not alone in this fight. We're part of a larger community. The message was clear: humanity's future hinged not only on science and technology, but on wisdom and collaboration. Weeks later, with the team's guidance, the world took its first steps toward global cooperation on planetary health. Governments committed to emissions reductions, renewable energy, and preservation of natural habitats. Scientific alliances formed across borders, sharing data and resources like never before. Emily often thought about the sphere and the keepers, wondering if they still watched from beyond the stars. Their warning was both terrifying and hopeful, a call to awaken, to evolve, and to protect the fragile balance of life. One evening, as Emily walked the desert's edge, the sunset painted the sky in fiery hues. The earth beneath her feet was still humming softly, alive with ancient power and new possibilities. She smiled, knowing that though the journey was far from over, humanity had passed a critical test. The caldera was quiet now, but the story was just beginning. The world had shifted beneath their feet, but Emily felt an even greater transformation happening inside her. The months following the caldera crisis brought unprecedented change, not just in science or politics, but in human consciousness. As news of the keepers and the mysterious sphere spread, debates raged between skeptics and believers. Some hailed it as proof of extraterrestrial intelligence guiding Earth's fate, others dismissed it as elaborate hoaxes fueled by fear. But Emily's team knew the truth was more complex. The keepers were not gods or invaders, they were caretakers, ancient custodians of balance that spanned galaxies. And humanity was now part of their vast network. The challenge was no longer merely survival of an eruption, it was understanding their place in a cosmic ecosystem. Elon Musk had emerged as a pivotal figure, using his influence to promote unity and forward-thinking technology. His initiatives to develop sustainable energy and colonize Mars gained new urgency, framed as humanity's answer to the Keeper's call. Emily, meanwhile, worked tirelessly on decoding the harmonic glyphs, uncovering layers of knowledge embedded in the sphere's design. Each revelation revealed more about the Keeper's philosophy, cycles of creation and destruction, the necessity of sacrifice, and the importance of learning from past failures. One day, while analyzing seismic data from Yellowstone, Emily noticed a pattern eerily similar to McDermitt's early signals. The caldera's own dormant giant was waking. "We've only delayed the inevitable," she told Elon during a conference call. "Yellowstone could be next." Elon's expression hardened. "Then we need to apply what we learned, fast. That means building a global network of harmonic transmitters linked to the Keeper's technology." The scale was daunting. Constructing a planetary defense system required international cooperation on a level never before achieved. Skepticism, bureaucracy, and fear challenged progress, but Emily and Elon refused to relent. Meanwhile, Emily struggled with her own doubts and fears. The emotional toll of the crisis weighed heavily on her, memories of close calls, the friends lost to accidents, the sleepless nights spent inside the eerie silence of the caldera's chamber. Her sister Lila's encouraging voice over comms helped ground her. "You're not alone," Lila reminded her. "We're all part of this." One evening, Emily sat in the desert watching the stars, reflecting on the journey. The sky seemed fuller now, as if alive with unseen watchers. She felt connected to something greater, a web of life stretching across space and time. Suddenly, her comms crackled. Elon's voice broke through, "We've received new data from a deep space probe. An energy surge heading toward Earth, matching the caldera's harmonic frequency." Emily's heart skipped. "Are we ready?" "We have to be," Elon said. "The Keepers warned us that balance requires constant vigilance. The next phase is upon us." As preparations began for this new threat, Emily understood that humanity's path would be neither easy nor certain. But armed with knowledge, unity, and hope, they would face the unknown, together. The stars above continued their silent watch, ancient and eternal, as Earth prepared for its next great challenge. The data from the deep space probe sent a chill through the bunker. Emily and her team gathered around the glowing screens, watching as energy readings escalated far beyond anything recorded before. The signal was not random, it was a patterned wave of electromagnetic pulses synchronized with the harmonic frequency detected at McDermitt and now Yellowstone. Elon leaned forward, his fingers steepled. "This energy surge, it's approaching Earth fast. If it's natural, we're witnessing a cosmic event tied to these cycles. If it's artificial, it could mean someone, or something, is intervening." Emily's mind raced through possibilities. The Keepers had said Earth was part of a larger network, a balance maintained through cycles of destruction and renewal. Could this surge be a message? A warning? Or a weapon? "We need to expand our monitoring systems," Rachel urged. "Deploy satellites with advanced harmonic sensors, increase ground-based detectors globally." "This is bigger than a single caldera." Elon nodded. "I've already mobilized teams at SpaceX and Tesla to build the necessary tech. We're going full scale, no delays." Meanwhile, Emily's thoughts drifted to the smaller orb in the chamber's depths, the source of the mechanism's power. It pulsed steadily now, emitting a soft violet light that seemed to communicate on frequencies beyond human hearing. The AI in her suit had recorded these signals as a complex code. She speculated it might contain the Keeper's knowledge, a cosmic library accessible only to those who could decode the language of sound and light. That night, as the desert wind whispered against the bunker walls, Emily immersed herself in the code. Hours passed as she translated fractal patterns into audio sequences, then into mathematical formulas. Slowly, a picture emerged. The energy surge was not destructive but catalytic, a trigger designed to awaken dormant planetary defenses, systems like the one in McDermitt. If harnessed correctly, it could amplify Earth's ability to withstand geological upheavals. But misuse could spell disaster. Elon's voice over comms interrupted her focus. "We have a decision to make. Do we try to control the surge or let it pass naturally?" Emily exhaled. "Control it. We've seen what happens when we ignore these signals, chaos. This time, we must be proactive." Days blurred into nights as the team worked feverishly. Satellites equipped with harmonic sensors were launched into orbit, drones equipped with adaptive AI scanned volcanic hotspots, and ground stations synchronized their data feeds. Worldwide, governments, corporations, and scientific organizations collaborated with a speed and unity previously unimaginable. Public reaction was mixed. Some embraced the mission as humanity's salvation, others feared it as a doomsday cult's fantasy. But as the energy wave approached, everyone watched the skies with bated breath. On the eve of the surge's arrival, Emily returned to the McDermitt chamber. The orb's glow intensified, bathing the crystalline walls in shifting hues. She placed her hand on the pedestal, feeling a deep resonance echo through her body. A voice whispered in her mind, calm, steady, ancient. Balance requires sacrifice. Are you prepared? She nodded. For the future, yes. Outside, the first tremors of the surge rippled through the Earth's crust. The harmonic transmitters hummed to life, emitting counterfrequencies designed to synchronize with the incoming wave. As the energy pulse washed over the planet, instruments recorded unprecedented interactions, the atmosphere crackling with renewed vitality, volcanic activity calming instead of escalating, ecosystems responding with sudden bursts of growth and regeneration. Back in the bunker, cheers erupted as the global network confirmed success. Elon grinned. "We didn't just survive, we adapted." Yet, beneath the relief, Emily sensed the beginning of a new chapter. The Keeper's message had been clear: vigilance was eternal. The cosmic cycles would continue, and humanity's role as guardians was only just beginning. As dawn broke over the desert, painting the sky with gold and rose, Emily felt a profound connection to Earth and the universe beyond. They had faced the unknown and emerged stronger, not because of technology alone, but because of unity, courage, and hope. The stars above shone brighter, welcoming a new era. And somewhere, in the vastness beyond, the Keepers watched, their ancient eyes fixed on humanity's next steps. The morning after the surge passed, Emily woke to a world that felt both familiar and irrevocably changed. Outside the bunker, the desert air was crisp, carrying the scent of rain and new growth where once there had been only dust and scorched earth. The seismic readings showed a remarkable calm across the globe. Volcanic hotspots, once jittery and unpredictable, now pulsed gently, as if breathing in a new rhythm. But the peace was fragile. Inside the bunker, the team worked tirelessly, analyzing the aftermath of the cosmic event. Data streamed in from every continent and orbiting satellite, painting a picture of Earth's rebirth and the immense energy shifts now coursing through its core. Elon paced the command room, his eyes sharp. The surge wasn't just a natural phenomenon, it was a catalyst designed to reset planetary systems. "We're witnessing the Keeper's intervention firsthand." Emily nodded. "It's as if the planet itself is waking from a long slumber, recalibrating its internal systems. But that also means there's a risk of unexpected reactions, aftershocks, new fault lines forming, ecological disruptions." Rachel pointed to a monitor displaying satellite imagery of Yellowstone. "Even with the harmonic network stabilizing activity, we're seeing minor disturbances, subsurface magma movements and new thermal vents. The caldera is alive in ways we don't fully understand yet." Priya, reviewing atmospheric data, added, the surge also appears to have amplified Earth's electromagnetic field, enhancing protection against solar radiation. It's like a planetary shield strengthening. That's good news for the space program, Elon said with a rare smile. Our ambitions beyond Earth just gained a serious boost. Yet amid the optimism, Emily felt a deep undercurrent of unease. The Keeper's warning about sacrifice echoed in her mind. She wondered how many would pay the price for this new balance. The following weeks brought both progress and tension. International cooperation accelerated efforts to build more harmonic transmitters and refine AI models to predict geological events. Public support swelled as humanity united behind a common cause, saving their world. But beneath the surface, political and economic interests clashed. Some nations resisted ceding control to a global network, fearing loss of sovereignty. Others pushed aggressive development projects that threatened fragile ecosystems. Emily and her team found themselves navigating not just scientific challenges, but complex social dynamics. One evening, as she reviewed data in solitude, her comms beeped with a secure message from Elon. Emily, meet me at the launch site. Urgent. She arrived at the sprawling SpaceX complex under a starlit sky. Elon greeted her with a serious expression. We've intercepted a signal, a transmission encoded within the energy surge's aftermath. It's unlike anything we've seen, a message embedded in the harmonic patterns. Emily's pulse quickened. A message? From the Keepers? Possibly. Or from another intelligence observing us. Together, they studied the transmission, a complex symphony of frequencies layered with mathematical constants and star maps. The signal appeared to be an invitation, or perhaps a challenge, a call to venture beyond Earth and join a cosmic alliance of worlds. This changes everything, Elon said quietly. Humanity isn't alone. We're part of a vast network of civilizations connected by knowledge and responsibility. Emily stared at the data, overwhelmed but determined. The journey that began with strange movements beneath McDermitt Caldera had opened a door to the stars. The Keepers had guided them to this moment, but now the future depended on humanity's courage to step through. The night air was cool as they looked toward the horizon, where the first rockets prepared to launch on new missions of exploration and discovery. Emily felt a profound hope. They had faced their fears, uncovered ancient truths, and forged unity in crisis. Now, the stars awaited, and with them, the next chapter in humanity's story. The invitation embedded within the harmonic surge sent ripples through the scientific community and global governments alike. Emily stood before a packed auditorium in Geneva, addressing an international coalition of leaders, scientists, and diplomats assembled to discuss humanity's unprecedented opportunity and the responsibilities it entailed. The room buzzed with anticipation and uncertainty. She began, what we face is not merely survival of our planet but an invitation to join a cosmic alliance. This message, encoded in the energy surge's aftermath, offers proof that Earth is part of a broader network of civilizations bound by shared stewardship of their worlds. Murmurs filled the hall. Some delegates exchanged skeptical glances, others leaned forward with curiosity. Emily continued, the Keepers have guided us to this point, warning us that balance is delicate and that our actions have consequences beyond our world. Now, we must decide, do we embrace this path of collaboration or retreat into isolation and risk repeating past mistakes? Elon Musk took the stage next, his presence commanding attention. Space exploration is no longer optional, it's imperative. Our future depends on understanding and participating in this cosmic community. We've already seen the power of unity through the harmonic network stabilizing Earth's geological systems. Imagine what we can achieve by extending that unity beyond our planet. Over the following months, an ambitious global initiative called the Celestial Accord was born. Its mission was to coordinate scientific, technological, and diplomatic efforts to respond to the Keeper's call. Emily led the scientific division, overseeing projects to decode the signal's embedded star maps and develop propulsion technologies capable of interstellar travel. Public enthusiasm soared as new educational programs and media campaigns highlighted humanity's role as emerging cosmic citizens. But the path was fraught with challenges. Deep-rooted mistrust between nations and factions threatened collaboration. Security concerns over potential extraterrestrial threats fueled paranoia. And the vast scale of the technological leap required seemed almost insurmountable. In the midst of this, Emily grappled with her own fears and doubts. The weight of responsibility was immense. She found solace in conversations with Lila and her team, and in moments of quiet reflection beneath the night sky. One evening, while analyzing data from the McDermitt chamber, Emily discovered an unexpected pattern, subtle fluctuations in the orb's energy that corresponded with the Earth's magnetic field reversals. This suggested the Keeper's technology might be linked to deep planetary cycles far older than previously understood. Could the sphere be more than a stabilizer? Could it be a key to unlocking Earth's latent capabilities? As these questions swirled in her mind, Elon called for a private briefing. "We've been offered an opportunity to test a prototype propulsion system based on the harmonic principles. It's a chance to send a probe beyond the solar system, a first step toward the alliance." Emily felt a surge of excitement tempered by caution. The risks are enormous. We must ensure the technology is safe and that the probe can communicate effectively with any civilizations we encounter. The project, dubbed Harmony 1, mobilized the best minds in physics, engineering, and AI. The probe's design incorporated harmonic resonance drives, quantum communication modules, and adaptive learning algorithms to interpret alien signals. As the launch day approached, tensions ran high. The world watched with hope and anxiety as the probe lifted off, carrying humanity's message of peace and curiosity into the unknown. Days turned to weeks with no immediate response. Doubts crept in. Had they misinterpreted the message? Was Earth alone after all? Then, a breakthrough. Harmony 1 detected a returning signal, a harmonic echo encoded with greetings and star charts from a nearby civilization. The response confirmed the existence of a network of advanced species, bound by principles of cooperation and mutual aid. Emily's eyes welled with tears. The journey from the tremors beneath McDermitt to this moment was surreal, a testament to human resilience and ingenuity. Yet, the Keeper's warning echoed still: balance requires vigilance and sacrifice. As humanity embraced its new role among the stars, Emily understood that the true test was only beginning. The harmony of worlds depended not just on technology, but on the choices they made as a species. That night, under a sky full of stars, she felt a profound sense of purpose. Earth was no longer isolated, it was part of a vast, living cosmos. And together, they would write the next chapter of their shared destiny. The discovery of the harmonic echo from a nearby civilization sent shockwaves through the global community. Governments that had been hesitant suddenly rallied behind the celestial accord, boosting funding and resources for further exploration. Emily and her team found themselves at the epicenter of a new era, coordinating projects that blurred the line between science and diplomacy. The initial response was cautious but hopeful, a blend of curiosity and the profound gravity of first contact. The signal carried star maps, complex mathematical concepts, and cultural data, fragments of a civilization both alien and surprisingly familiar. As the message was decrypted, it revealed a society that had faced its own cataclysms and emerged wiser, dedicated to planetary stewardship and interstellar cooperation. Emily often thought about the parallels with Earth's recent struggles and the Keeper's warnings. Could this civilization be a model for humanity's future? The breakthrough rekindled Elon Musk's drive to accelerate space exploration. At SpaceX, projects scaled up rapidly: new spacecraft designs, advanced life support systems, and AI capable of adapting to unknown environments. Yet, with progress came new challenges. The diplomatic complexities of engaging with alien civilizations were vast and uncharted. Questions arose: how to communicate effectively, what to share and what to withhold, how to ensure Earth's safety without fostering fear or hostility. The Celestial Accord established a council of representatives, including diplomats, scientists, ethicists, and cultural experts tasked with navigating these dilemmas. Emily was appointed lead scientific advisor, balancing optimism with caution. Meanwhile, the orb at McDermitt continued to fascinate. Its energy patterns subtly shifted, mirroring changes in Earth's magnetic and seismic activity. Emily hypothesized that the sphere was not only stabilizing Earth but also acting as a gateway, perhaps a translator or a bridge to other worlds. This idea sparked a new project, to develop technology that could interface more directly with the orb's harmonic signals, potentially unlocking communication beyond radio waves and digital codes. The work was painstaking, requiring new materials and innovative AI to interpret patterns of light and sound on scales previously unimaginable. One night, during a breakthrough session, Emily experienced something unexpected. As the orb's violet glow intensified, her AI suit translated the harmonic waves into a form of neural resonance. She felt a deep connection, a wave of understanding and emotion washing over her consciousness. It was as if the keepers were speaking directly to her, sharing knowledge and urging humanity to embrace not just technology, but empathy and wisdom. The experience left Emily both exhilarated and humbled. The stakes were higher than ever. Humanity's journey from panic at McDermitt to interstellar diplomacy was accelerating into uncharted realms of science and spirituality. Yet, beneath the excitement lurked the ever-present tension of the unknown. News of the Harmony probe and the orb's strange behavior leaked to the public, fueling both awe and fear. Conspiracy theories flourished, and some extremist groups resisted the global cooperation efforts, fearing loss of control or invasion. Emily and Elon found themselves not only scientists and leaders but also public figures navigating the complex social landscape. They embarked on global speaking tours, emphasizing unity, transparency, and hope. "We stand at the threshold of a new age," Elon told a massive audience in New York City. "An age where humanity takes its rightful place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as stewards and partners." Emily echoed his sentiment in scientific forums, emphasizing the importance of balance and ethical responsibility. "The keepers showed us that technology alone cannot save us. It is our choices, our values, and our willingness to learn and adapt that will determine our future." As the world grappled with these profound shifts, the McDermitt Caldera remained a symbol of both peril and promise, a reminder of Earth's power and fragility. In the depths of the desert, the orb pulsed steadily, a beacon of ancient wisdom and a call to action. Emily often returned there to reflect, drawing strength from the quiet hum beneath her feet and the vast sky above. One evening, as she stood outside the bunker, Elon approached with a thoughtful expression. "The next step," he said, "is to send a crewed mission beyond the solar system. Not just probes, but people." Emily considered the enormity of the proposal. "It will require advances in life support, propulsion, and human psychology. Long-term isolation, unknown environments, are we ready?" Elon smiled. "We have to be. The message we received, the alliance we're joining, it demands it. Humanity's future depends on it." Together, they began planning the mission, assembling a diverse team of astronauts, scientists, and diplomats. The endeavor became a symbol of hope and unity, a testament to how far humanity had come since the panic at McDermitt. Yet Emily knew the journey would test them all, not only physically but spiritually and morally. The keeper's lessons echoed in her mind: balance, sacrifice, and harmony were not just goals, but ongoing processes requiring vigilance and humility. As preparations advanced, Emily felt a deep resolve. They had survived chaos, uncovered cosmic truths, and forged connections that transcended worlds. Now, it was time to take the next leap, into the stars, into the unknown, and into the future humanity was destined to shape. The crewed mission, named Odyssey, quickly became the focal point of global attention. Emily watched as the team, handpicked from across the world, trained relentlessly in state-of-the-art facilities designed to simulate the extreme conditions of deep space. The astronauts, scientists, and diplomats formed a diverse group, united by a common purpose but each carrying their own hopes, fears, and personal histories. Among them was Captain Marcus Hayes, a decorated pilot haunted by past failures but driven by a fierce determination to succeed. Dr. Lila Nguyen, an expert in exobiology, carried the weight of her family's hopes for a better future. And Samuel Ortiz, a linguist and cultural anthropologist, embodied the bridge between human understanding and alien communication. Elon Musk remained a visible leader behind the scenes, pushing technological boundaries and funding rapid development. Emily served as scientific liaison, ensuring that every system was aligned with the knowledge gleaned from McDermitt and the Keeper's messages. The stakes could not have been higher. This was humanity's first step beyond the solar system, a venture into realms only imagined in science fiction. As launch day approached, the world held its breath. Public broadcasts shared every detail, the final checks, emotional farewells, and the countdown. Emily stood on the observation deck, her heart pounding as the massive spacecraft lifted off, its engines roaring a new dawn for humankind. Once in orbit, Odyssey deployed advanced harmonic resonators and quantum communicators designed to maintain contact across the vast distances ahead. The mission's objective was clear: reach the coordinates provided by the Keeper's encoded star maps, establish contact with allied civilizations, and explore the potential for cooperation and shared knowledge. But the journey was fraught with unknowns. Days into transit, unexpected anomalies began to appear. Sensors detected subtle fluctuations in space-time fabric around the ship, and the AI onboard reported irregular harmonic patterns similar to those observed at McDermitt. Captain Hayes convened an emergency meeting. "We're encountering something out here, energy fields that don't conform to our models. We need to understand what we're facing before proceeding." Emily's voice was steady but grave. These could be natural phenomena related to the cosmic cycles, or remnants of the Keeper's technology. They might be protective barriers or communication signals. The crew worked together, analyzing data and adjusting the ship's harmonic systems to sync with the anomalies. Samuel developed new linguistic models to interpret potential signals embedded within the distortions. Days stretched into weeks, and the crew experienced moments of profound isolation and exhilaration. They faced technical challenges, interpersonal tensions, and the psychological strain of venturing into the unknown. Yet, they were buoyed by the knowledge that they carried Earth's hopes and the legacy of the Keepers. Then, a breakthrough: the ship's sensors detected a stable energy node ahead, a nexus of harmonic frequencies matching the signature of the Keeper's technology. Approaching cautiously, Odyssey sent out a probe that transmitted real-time data back to the crew. The images revealed a massive structure, a crystalline gateway suspended in space, shimmering with violet light, resonating with the very fabric of the cosmos. Emily's breath caught. This is what the Keepers referred to, the gateways between worlds. "We've found one." As they prepared to pass through, the ship's AI interfaced with the gateway's harmonic signals, opening a communication channel. A voice, ancient and serene, filled the ship's systems, speaking directly to the crew. "Welcome, travelers. You have answered the call of balance and harmony. Beyond this gateway lies the Council of Worlds, where your place is awaited." The crew exchanged stunned glances. The journey had transcended exploration, they had stepped into a living network of civilizations committed to stewardship and cooperation. But the voice also brought a solemn warning. "The harmony you seek is fragile. To join the Council, you must demonstrate not only technological prowess but wisdom, compassion, and sacrifice." The gateway pulsed, inviting Odyssey to enter. Captain Hayes steeled himself. "Prepare for transit." As the ship passed through, reality itself seemed to shift. Light warped and time stretched, transporting them to a realm beyond ordinary space. When the stars settled, they found themselves in an immense chamber filled with beings of diverse forms, energies shimmering like living music. The Council greeted them with solemn respect. Emily stepped forward, her voice clear. "We come seeking unity, knowledge, and the chance to protect our world and others." A representative, radiant and ethereal, responded. Then you must face the trials of balance, challenges that test your courage, empathy, and commitment to harmony. Over the following days, the crew underwent a series of trials, both physical and moral. They confronted illusions born of their deepest fears, ethical dilemmas that challenged their values, and tasks that required cooperation beyond self-interest. Emily found herself confronting painful memories, the sacrifices made at McDermitt, and the weight of leadership. Yet, through these trials, the crew grew stronger, their bonds deepened, and their understanding of harmony expanded beyond science into the realm of spirit. The challenges ahead remained immense, but the crew carried the harmony of the council within them, ready to face whatever the cycles would bring. As Odyssey approached the solar system, Emily looked out at the blue planet rising over the horizon. The panic that once gripped McDermitt seemed a distant memory, replaced by hope, unity, and an understanding that humanity's place was among the stars. The Keeper's ancient wisdom had guided them through darkness into light. Now, it was their turn to carry that light forward, guardians of harmony in a vast and living universe. As Odyssey re-entered the solar system, Earth awaited its heroes with a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. The mission's success had sparked global celebrations but also deep questions about what humanity's new role truly meant. Emily's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts as she prepared for their return. How to share the profound knowledge gained, how to integrate the Cosmic Alliance's teachings into human society, and how to manage the delicate balance between hope and fear. The first challenge was reintegration. After months in the vast silence of space, the crew faced a world transformed. The harmonic network on Earth had expanded exponentially, healing fractures in the planet's geology and atmosphere. Cities once vulnerable to disaster now thrived under enhanced environmental stability. Yet, social and political tensions simmered beneath the surface. Some factions embraced the alliance with open arms, others resisted, fearing loss of autonomy or manipulation by unseen forces. Emily and the crew became ambassadors not only to alien worlds but to their own species, tasked with bridging divides and fostering understanding. Public appearances were a delicate dance, balancing transparency with security, inspiration with pragmatism. The Council of Worlds had entrusted them with knowledge of advanced technologies and philosophies that could revolutionize energy, medicine, and communication. But the team knew that indiscriminate dissemination could lead to misuse or conflict. In their first global address, Emily spoke with heartfelt conviction. We stand at a crossroads. The harmony we seek is not automatic. It requires commitment, from each of us, to live with respect, compassion, and responsibility. The Keeper's message is clear: technology is a tool, but our choices define our destiny. Meanwhile, Elon Musk spearheaded initiatives to adapt the harmonic technologies for Earth's infrastructure. New power grids harnessed clean, sustainable energy, environmental restoration projects accelerated, and deep space research facilities flourished. Yet, Emily observed a subtle tension in these rapid changes. Not everyone welcomed the transformation. Some feared the unknown, clinging to old ways. Extremist groups spread misinformation, fueling division. In response, the Celestial Accord strengthened its outreach, promoting education, dialogue, and cultural exchange. Emily often met with grassroots leaders, listening to their concerns and sharing stories of the crew's journey beyond the gateway. One particularly moving encounter was with a group of indigenous elders who saw the Keeper's intervention as part of a sacred cycle, a reminder of humanity's duty to honor the earth and all life. Their wisdom resonated deeply with Emily, reinforcing her belief that science and spirituality must walk hand in hand. On a quieter note, Emily struggled with the personal costs of leadership. The weight of expectation, moments of doubt, and the lingering memories of loss at McDermitt often shadowed her. Late nights in the command center were filled with data analysis and strategic planning, but also with introspection. She found solace in letters from Lila and conversations with the crew, who shared her burdens and hopes. One evening, as she gazed at the stars, a transmission arrived from the Council of Worlds. It contained a new message, an invitation to participate in a summit among allied civilizations, to discuss the next phase of cosmic cooperation. The summit promised opportunities to exchange knowledge, forge alliances, and confront shared challenges. Yet it also hinted at emerging threats, cosmic phenomena or entities that tested the harmony the Council sought to preserve. Preparations for the summit galvanized the Celestial Accord. Delegates and experts prepared to represent Earth, ready to learn and contribute. Emily was chosen to lead the Earth delegation, a role that honored her journey but also intensified her responsibilities. The summit itself was unlike anything humanity had ever experienced. Held on a massive orbital station beyond the solar system, the gathering brought together diverse beings, some humanoid, others indescribable in form. United by the quest for balance and mutual survival. Discussions spanned topics from energy harmonics and ecological restoration to ethics, governance, and defense against cosmic threats. Emily listened and contributed, absorbing perspectives that challenged and expanded her understanding. During one session, a warning emerged about a distant region of space exhibiting unstable energy fluctuations, potentially a danger to multiple star systems. The Council deliberated on responses, emphasizing diplomacy but preparing contingency plans. The summit underscored that harmony was a dynamic state, requiring vigilance and cooperation. Upon returning to Earth, Emily felt both invigorated and burdened by the summit's revelations. The work ahead was immense, integrating alien technologies responsibly, fostering global unity, and preparing for challenges that transcended any single planet. Yet, she held on to hope, the same hope that had carried her from the panic at McDermitt through the cosmic gateway and into this new era. In quiet moments, Emily reflected on the journey. The strange movements beneath McDermitt had sparked fear and uncertainty, but had also ignited a transformation, scientific, spiritual, and societal. Humanity stood not at the end of its story, but at the threshold of a vast and wondrous future. The Keeper's legacy was clear: balance required sacrifice, wisdom, and a willingness to grow beyond old paradigms. As Earth's guardian and emissary to the stars, Emily embraced her role with humility and determination. The journey was far from over. Yet, with every challenge, humanity moved closer to a harmony that might one day resonate across the cosmos, a testament to resilience, unity, and the enduring power of hope. In the months following the cosmic summit, Earth found itself undergoing profound changes, political, social, and technological, that rippled through every corner of society. The Celestial Accord's influence expanded as new initiatives aimed at harmonizing humanity's relationship with the planet gained traction. Cities adopted green infrastructures powered by the harmonic technologies gifted by the Council of Worlds, while rural communities embraced sustainable practices informed by ancient wisdom integrated with cutting-edge science. Emily observed these transformations with a mixture of pride and cautious optimism. While progress was undeniable, the challenges of unity and equity persisted. Not every region or population had equal access to these advancements, and disparities threatened to undermine the fragile harmony they all sought to build. As lead scientific advisor, Emily pushed for inclusive programs that prioritized education and resource distribution. She frequently engaged with local leaders, activists, and educators, fostering collaborations that bridged cultural and technological divides. Elon Musk continued to be a driving force behind ambitious projects, including the development of advanced propulsion systems for interstellar travel and AI systems designed to manage environmental and societal complexities. His vision extended beyond Earth's boundaries, aiming to establish humanity as a thriving member of the cosmic community. Amid these developments, Emily found herself wrestling with a personal dilemma. The Council's message about the trials of balance had lingered in her thoughts, particularly the notion that true harmony required sacrifice. She wondered what sacrifices she and humanity might still face. The strange energy fluctuations reported near McDermitt had subsided temporarily, but new anomalies appeared elsewhere, subtle, mysterious, and unsettling. Scientists worldwide scrambled to analyze these phenomena, while security agencies heightened vigilance against potential cosmic threats. Emily convened a multidisciplinary task force to investigate, combining expertise in geology, astrophysics, and quantum mechanics. Their studies suggested that these anomalies might be interconnected with the cosmic cycles the keepers had described, a vast rhythm of creation, destruction, and renewal operating on a scale beyond human comprehension. This realization deepened the urgency of their mission. To prepare Earth and humanity not only to survive but to thrive within this cosmic dance. Meanwhile, tensions surfaced within the Celestial Accord and Earth's own governments. Some factions questioned the wisdom of embracing alien technologies and alliances, fearing dependency or loss of sovereignty. Others pushed for rapid expansion into space, risking reckless exploitation of resources and cultures. Emily advocated for a measured approach, emphasizing ethical frameworks and respect for all forms of life. Public debates grew intense, echoing historical struggles between progress and preservation. Throughout these challenges, Emily found strength in the crew of Odyssey, now scattered across various roles but united by shared experiences and purpose. They met regularly, offering support and counsel as they navigated the complexities of leadership and responsibility. In one such meeting, Marcus Hayes voiced a concern that resonated deeply. "We've seen the potential of harmony, but also the fragility of balance. If we don't address our internal divisions, no technology or alliance will save us." Lila Nguyen added, "Our journey beyond the gateway taught us that empathy and understanding are as crucial as science. We must remember that." Inspired by their words, Emily launched an initiative called Harmony Outreach, designed to foster cross-cultural dialogues, mental health support, and education programs worldwide. The initiative harnessed virtual reality, AI translators, and immersive storytelling to build empathy and shared identity among diverse populations. As the world slowly embraced these efforts, Emily received an unexpected visitor, a representative from an allied civilization, an envoy sent to Earth to strengthen ties and share knowledge. The visitor's presence was a tangible symbol of the growing cosmic community and a reminder of the responsibilities that came with it. Together, they explored ways to deepen cooperation, joint research projects, cultural exchanges, and planetary defense collaborations. Yet, beneath the optimism lay a persistent unease. The Council's warning about cosmic threats remained vivid, and new data hinted at disturbances approaching the solar system's outskirts. Emily and her team intensified their monitoring efforts, developing early warning systems and defense protocols in partnership with allied civilizations. These preparations required balancing transparency with caution, to avoid panic while ensuring readiness. One night, while reviewing data, Emily noticed an anomaly near the Kuiper Belt, a vast cloud of icy bodies at the edge of the solar system. The energy signatures resembled the harmonic patterns from McDermitt and the Gateway, but with an unfamiliar distortion. The anomaly grew rapidly, triggering alarms across observatories. Emily convened an emergency meeting with Elon, the Celestial Accord leaders, and international experts. "This could be a natural cosmic event, or something more," she said, "but we must act quickly." The decision was made to send an advanced probe equipped with the latest harmonic resonance technology and AI interpreters to investigate. As the probe sped into the dark reaches of space, the world watched anxiously. Weeks passed with little communication, heightening tension. Finally, the probe sent back images and data revealing an enormous structure, an artificial construct unlike anything previously seen. It pulsed with energy, its patterns chaotic but hinting at intelligence. The implications were staggering. Was this a new threat, a relic of an ancient civilization, or a beacon calling for help? The Celestial Accord convened again, debating responses. Emily urged caution and collaboration with allied civilizations to decipher the mystery before making any rash decisions. The discovery reignited public fascination and fear, with media outlets speculating wildly. Conspiracy theories surged, and some groups demanded immediate military action. Emily and Elon appeared in global broadcasts, urging calm and reason. "We are explorers, not conquerors," Elon stated firmly. "Our greatest strength is our ability to listen, learn, and adapt." Emily added, "This moment calls for unity and wisdom. We must face the unknown together, guided by harmony." As preparations continued for a coordinated investigation, Emily found herself reflecting on the journey from panic at McDermitt to this unprecedented frontier. The path had been marked by fear and hope, failure and triumph, loss and discovery. Humanity had grown, not only in technology but in spirit. The Keeper's legacy was alive in the choices they made, the sacrifices they embraced, and the unity they sought. In the quiet moments, Emily gazed at the night sky, feeling the pulse of the cosmos resonate deep within. She knew that the trials were far from over, but also that humanity had the strength to meet them. The story of McDermitt was no longer just a warning, it was a beginning. A testament to resilience, curiosity, and the enduring power of harmony. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough?